certified bug-free. Bug-free.
Shit, Victor, not bad. I don't know what to say.
Say you'll take this and remember the dosage. 2 whips now, and another 2 in an hour.
What is going on, everyone? What a wonderful way to start our mornings. And we're going to be talking a lot of Cyberpunk today for obvious reasons. But should be some good conversation. We're excited. I am not tired, despite all the reports of me being tired or looking tired. I'm not fucking tired. Jeremy can go fuck himself. Speaking of that, Jeremy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to switch over to a real computer instead of the potato that I've been on for a while, and looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking about Cyberglitch 2077 and all of the amazing content and memes. The meme of the year. What did that account say a while back? The entire game is a meme. Is that what it said?
Yeah. So, this Cyberpunk account said that 2 years ago.
Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. So happy to be here. We may be joined by our guests a little bit later. They have a link, so we will keep you posted on that.
That's right. And we also have Lethal here. What's up, Lethal?
Unlike these two, I actually am tired, but I'm happy to be here. How are we doing?
We are doing well, the royal we. Mark, how are you doing?
Doing okay. It's been a tough time making a very, very long Cyberpunk 2077 video that I had to rewrite like 4 times, and even now has some outdated information because things around the surrounding controversy change about this game like every day. But I don't know. I think I might just kind of leave it in. I'll just like, if people are like, oh yeah, actually Sony started doing refunds, I'm just gonna be like, okay, whatever. I recorded the video prior to that.
It's you're not wrong, because things are changing about this each and every day, and it is literally the meme. It can't get any worse, and then it did get worse. You know, like that's what's happening. We are at a point now where I don't know if it. We're actually at a point where I don't know if it can get any worse, because essentially everyone has announced that they will be refunding the game. PlayStation took it off their digital store. You can no longer get the game on PlayStation if you're looking to get it digitally, which is kind of unprecedented for this big of a release, but it is where we're at.
Did it break records for pre-orders?
Yeah, I believe so. 8 million pre-orders. It definitely broke it on PC. I don't know the grand total of, what it actually did in the first weekend, because it was looking at tracking potentially to take that Red Dead Redemption 2 number from like the first weekend, like that first 24 hours effectively of sales.
And that just puts it in perspective about the shitstorm that is being dealt with. I mean, a game that sold this many copies, pre-orders, and now all of the refunds that are having to be taken care of, the customer service that is added on to that, the amount of man hours, not woman hours, man hours that are being added. It's a shit show across the board. So it's creating a lot of problems. It's not the same as a game like No Man's Sky. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure No Man's Sky sold decent, but we're not talking about like record-breaking numbers when it was broken. It's just like this game was on another level, and for it to be this bad when it was released on this scale, it's crazy.
Yeah, and we do have to keep in mind that the experiences playing this game are vastly different. If you have been playing this game on a top-end PC, you might think it's maybe one of the best games you've ever played ever. We've seen that. I know Mark is really fond of it. I know Uche has been basically coming all over himself playing the game. So, there are a lot of people, and even in the chat here, a lot of people really enjoying the game. But for some people on console, the game is damn near unplayable. It is not this fraction of people that are having issues. You wouldn't see all this backlash if it was literally a tiny fraction of people. A significant portion of people having really big problems. Lethal, you were one of them.
Yeah, I've played it. I've requested my refund. I haven't heard back anything yet, but once was enough for me. It was unplayable. Like, it was so bad that I couldn't get through the prologue without some crazy issues happening constantly and crashing. So I want my money back, and who knows, maybe in a few years from now when it's fixed, I might pick it up for like $20.
Well, I was telling the guys about this. Has anyone seen Angry Joe's video on this?
Not yet, no.
All right, can we play it now, or do you have some stuff in mind first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so let me do a screen share, and we will because this is funny. Okay. So right here. And I gotta unmute it.
Well, that's
No, hang on. Just it.
Yeah, that's part of the mission.
You don't say.
Seriously?
Is it not?
oh my god.
It's time for an angry rant. Screw it.
Now, hang on.
Let me show you about the 16th time I was pulled out of the immersion of the game. Check it out. I was trying different paths. I was going in this freaking seedy area, talking with this guy, and I thought, okay, well, first off, I'm gonna beat the hell out of him because he's a creep, he's an asshole, and I'm gonna, just get the information. And that actually worked pretty well. Worked fine. You got the first person. I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
Look at that dude.
I actually feel like he's scared of me, and I knocked this dude out.
I knocked this dude out too.
Wait, that was really awesome. But and they said that you could do these things in multiple paths. So I was like, okay, let me try a different path. Let me fucking reload the game here, and let me load. And I'm gonna be diplomatic, and I'm not gonna hit him. I'm not gonna, as much as I want to hit him. I'm
This
not
shit's
gonna
funny
hit him,
right here. This
and
shit's funny
I'm
as
just gonna
hell.
Talk to the guy, and then see how it goes, and then maybe rob his ass afterwards, or then maybe kill him afterwards. And take his stuff. And once again, this game's unfinished, terrible, ugly, missing features and broken features showed its ugly head. Check it out.
The killing and robbing NPC things really doesn't work in this game at all, though. Like, he's
No,
trying to
just
play
wait.
this like.
No, wait till you see this shit.
I'm just saying he's trying to play this like a Fallout game. This game.
No,
is
wait
really,
till you see what happens.
So get the fuck out of here. Fuck you. The city would be better off without you. You piece of shit. Something else? What the fuck?
Oh, so police are going to teleport in.
It just fucking disappeared. What the fuck? I was gonna loot his body.
The wanted system in this game is like
it's
next to
broken.
Like it should almost not
Look,
exist.
look.
What? What the fuck is the cops? The fucking cops just fucking spawned in out of fucking nowhere.
This
is there?
Yeah, that's not a bug though. That's just the wanted system in the game being actually designed poorly. Like,
got two fucking stars.
I think actually calling that a bug is giving the game too much credit.
Fucking spawned into the fuck. Did it come through here? No, this is a fucking bathroom. What the fuck? Fuck. What the fuck?
I'm amazed he got this far into the game without realizing that the cops don't like play by rule. They just spawn in once you commit a crime.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, but this one spawns in through the wall.
No, but
you can't find it.
That's how it works always though. Like
No. He's in the wall. He can't find it.
What the? Oh my god! This
Okay,
game.
that's a bug.
What the fuck? Who the fuck is shooting me?
We'll release the game when it's ready.
yeah.
They're not coming through this fucking
Is he
door.
still actually honestly expecting there to be logic to this situation and how it works? Like, he's looking around the room, it's like, oh, is there another door that the cops are coming in through?
My ass. Every fucking NPC has a goddamn fucking cycle or whatever.
So that's just right
I know for everyone saying I'm being too nice, I'm not being too nice. I actually talk about the wanted system in this game really just being there so that if people say, hey, if you commit a crime, do the cops come? They could be like, yeah. But that's like honestly the most effort that's put into it. So if you're expecting the wanted system and the police in this game to work like Grand Theft Auto, it does not. It's not really set up so that you will be on like killing sprees and things like that. It's really just there so that the cops don't totally ignore you if you're like killing random civilians. It's not well developed. It's not well designed. It's poorly done.
It's terrible.
But like for the most part, I think if you're like I'm honestly shocked that if Angry Joe was like playing this game for review, because that's pretty far into the game. That's in Act 3. Which is like there's 3 acts in the game, and the third act has like 4 story missions in it that are a point of no return, and then you're done. So I'm shocked that he got that far into the game without realizing that the cops don't play by logic. They just spawn in once you get a wanted star.
That's an Act 3?
Yeah.
I've done that part, and I feel like I'm nowhere. I have barely played the story at all.
I'm 90% sure that once you're dealing with like the dollhouse and everything, that's like pretty late into the game. Or maybe it might just be the second dollhouse quest that's Act 3. That might
Yeah,
be
okay. I think it's pretty early. Like either so that's bullshit. This game is full of bugs which we could watch them all fucking day. Like it's horrendous. That specifically, there were glitches in there and bugs, but that is one of the things about this game that is broken at a development level. The wanted system is stupid.
Yeah.
Cops, they literally spawn in. They are human beings that are spawning and appearing. That makes zero sense. The whole thing about Night City, the way I feel like it was like targeted towards us, like it was going to be this completely immersive experience. And that is fucking retarded. Like that is a stupid way to develop it. If you're going to do it like that, you just shouldn't have a wanted system, period.
And I think the other side to that coin is like, okay, if there's no wanted system, do they make it so that all civilians are invincible, or all like you can just do anything you want and just the cops don't care at all? Is Night City like a lawless anarchist state then? Like, I mean, I get why there's a wanted system in there. I just think that they should have done it better. I don't think pulling the wanted system entirely would have been an option, really. I think it would have been more immersion breaking if you could just randomly kill anybody with zero consequence.
Well, here's the problem. If you kill, like if you throw a grenade and it fucking blows up the wrong thing and you kill like 5 random people, you might get 10 police spawn on you instantly and kill you.
Yeah. That's true.
That's
but
completely
at the same time, there's like no firefights in this game that are around civilians. So if you're throwing a grenade around civilians, it means that like you're just in the middle of Night City.
That's not true. It happened to me the other day in one of the random go help. There's a crime being committed here.
The world events, yeah. But there's like, what are you using grenades for? There's like 3 enemies in those.
How many excuses are you going to make for the point I'm trying to make?
No, I'm just saying
you're kind of making excuses.
Okay, but I'm saying that like it's clear.
Like
it should be clear.
It
should be clear to anyone playing this game though that the wanted system sucks and that it's not very well developed. However, it's also not a very big part of the game because generally you're not in situations where you are going to be killing civilians unless you want to or if you're driving. It's when you're driving that I think the wanted system becomes kind of messed up because you can skid just randomly and then hit someone and then all of a sudden you have a wanted star. And then I think it's balanced out a little bit, not well designed balanced out, but it's balanced out in the favor of the player in that you basically drive 20 feet down the road and the cops forget that you're ever there. So like
right.
they went with, okay, well it's going to be stupid because we can't get it to work properly. So let's at least make it non-intrusive. And I'm more or less okay with that. I don't think it's good. Everyone's saying Mark's being too easy on the game. I think that is bad, but I think at least it doesn't get in the way of the game very much.
Don't worry,
I think
Mark.
it's just.
I was too mean.
I think it's just a piece of a convoluted puzzle. Like there are a lot of problems, and this is just one of the many problems that are adding up to a disastrous situation right now for Cyberpunk 2077.
I think what this probably is kind of like Mark's saying they couldn't get it to work, so they cut it. And it all comes back to what happened at the top level for this game. CD Projekt Red, we've talked about it a lot on this channel. CD Projekt Red has been held to a very high point. They have been placed on the pinnacle of developers by a lot of people, including themselves. So when we find out that for years they've been lying to us about the state of this game, the executives, not necessarily the developers. You got to feel for the developers a lot at this point in time because now their bonuses are being impacted. Their potential job might be impacted if it continues to go this bad for CD Projekt Red. But it's all the top level people who continue to push for this game to come out during this year, whether it was ready or not, and lied to the public. They are the ones who made sure that they didn't put any console review codes out there because they knew how bad it was going to be. They're the ones who came up with this system that said no one can capture any gameplay and use it for your review. You have to use our trailer footage. It was them. It was those people. It wasn't the people that actually physically made the game. And I don't know if they're ever going to restore the trust that they had in them. Now, to me, I think that a lot of people just consider them with everybody else now.
I just feel like delaying games in the video game industry is such a common thing at this point. It does not hurt to delay games. It doesn't. It hurts to release broken games and fix them after a year, because again, a No Man's Sky is a classic example of how you lost all of that momentum that you had when it released because you released it broken. Now you could say Witcher 3 is one where, but it wasn't completely broken, was it? I mean, it had some problems.
I would argue that Witcher 3 on consoles is completely broken now. It runs like absolute trash. But like,
yeah, but you can play it for an hour without it crashing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember Witcher 3 being this controversial, and it probably wasn't even it wasn't released on this level either. But the point is games are always delayed, and people will come around to it. And I said this like on Friday Night Tights, where I was talking about no fan base spurgs out more than Nintendo fans. Breath of the Wild was delayed, and they said it was releasing here, and then they would move it. There was so many fucking dates thrown out there, and ultimately they released it when they released it, and it got rave reviews across the board. Delay these games until they're ready. Don't feel the public pressure or the decision to make it, to release it, or whatever. I mean, again, I think we can all look at Halo Infinite right now and just be thankful that they have confidently delayed this game until they can get it right. And that's what we have to accept in the gaming industry, is if they're going to, delays are a good thing. Generally, they're not always, but generally speaking, delays of main titles are good things because it shows that they don't want to release a broken game. We've had broken game release after release after release with EA and other companies. I think this one is going to be discussed on a different level for a long time. Like this is the tip right here.
Yeah. Well, and I think like to say that delaying a game doesn't hurt it, I would say it hurts it in that couple day window for sure. Like people get pissed off, people get upset. You have the 0.00001% of people in the world that said, "Hey, go kill yourself" or something.
It drove me crazy when they. Yeah, it drove me crazy when the CDPR people use that shit. You know, like fuck off, dude. We all get told that shit every fucking day. We all get told that on the fucking internet. You can either turn yourself into a victim with that, or you can't. Now, if you get credible threats, that's a different story. If someone actually like posts to say I'm coming to your house and like okay, there's certain level taking shit seriously. With some random account with 5 fucking followers says that shit gets said every fucking day to people with no following, people with a following. It doesn't fucking matter. You comment on a goddamn Facebook post and you're probably going to get a public Facebook post about anything. You're probably going to have somebody saying that to you in the comments. And you can either screenshot that and pretend that people are being mean, or you can fucking understand that that's part of the internet. So fucking retarded when I saw that.
I don't really have any sympathy for that, but let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the reason it got pushed out was probably much more likely the investors on CD Projekt Red's board, more so than death threats from people on Twitter. Like, I really don't think that pushed them to.
You're a tad low, Mark. You're a tad low. You have been the whole time, but I didn't say anything at first, so it's not a big deal. It's fine. It's not. It's not
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better.
All right. So, but yeah, what I was saying that I really
probably
don't think
a little too hot now.
Okay.
Sorry,
blame Jeremy. Blame Jeremy for that.
Sorry.
Yeah, and
all right. How about now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right, but yeah, I think that it's much more likely. Like,
no.
Well, okay. Well,
so it's too loud now. There's like too much. It's too much feedback. Freaking PC gamers.
Well, sorry, Mari.
Just go back to how it was and just yell.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm on a dial, my game dial that has no specific number on it, so where I was is hard to spot. But anyways, I think it was the people who stand to make money from this release at Christmas that were probably like, there's going to be major consequences if you guys don't get it out the door now. I think where they made the mistake is obviously not releasing console code not saying, okay, well, we'll tell you what, we'll compromise, we'll release the PC version, because while it's got problems, it's at least in like a releasable, playable state, and we'll hold off on the base console versions. Or just saying, yeah, like, how about we release this game, but we call it early access. We say, hey, like, you can download it now if you want, but just so you know, this is like the holiday early access release version of Cyberpunk 2077. It's not the finished game. We still have work to do on it, but we know a lot of you really want to play this game now. So do what Larian Studios is doing with Baldur's Gate 3, which is call it a like collaborative process between the players and the developers. Say like the game's not done right now, you're not buying a finished game, you're basically pre-ordering your copy, and instead of just waiting around for that game to come out with a pre-order just sitting on your money, you can play the game, let us know what you think of it, let us know what you're liking, what you're not liking, and we can work together to make this game better for when we release it at 1.0 in whatever, like fucking January 2022 if they have to.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go back to a point I've consistently made, and a point that I've talked about with my beloved Nintendo and other companies. Customer service in the entertainment industry begins and ends with making a good product. All the other shit is irrelevant.
That's certainly not Nintendo's return policy that you're going to do.
But again, who gives a... Like, again, does Nintendo have a widespread problem of people returning games?
I'm sure there's plenty of trash games on Switch that people would like to return, yes.
Like what?
Jeremy, there's so much shovelware on the Nintendo eShop.
That's fine.
I guarantee you someone somewhere has not liked the Nintendo
The point
Switch
is we wouldn't be talking about return policies with Cyberpunk if it didn't release broken. That's the problem. You're trying to appease to the 1 or 2% of fucking people out there that buy something that they don't know anything about and then play it and want to return it. That is not a widespread problem for Nintendo.
No, because you can't return anything.
If Cyberpunk didn't release broken, we're not discussing return policy. There would still be 2% of the fucking people out there that bought it, didn't know it was a fucking RPG, thought it was just Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty, and wanted to return it. That's not a widespread problem. At the end of the day, if you make a good product, that is customer service. That's what I care about. Everything else is irrelevant in the big scheme of release a good fucking
Jeremy,
movie.
You are aware though that
nobody cares.
Nintendo does not make all the games that are on Nintendo Switch, correct?
I understand that.
Okay, so another company.
Is it a widespread problem? Is it a widespread problem?
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of people that buy games that
give me an example. Give me one example of this widespread
people
problem.
in the chat saying that they did not like Daemon X Machina and would like to refund
Don't fucking
it on
buy
Switch.
it then. Fucking do some research on it. You're not going to like everything.
That's your answer then. If you bought it and you don't like it, fuck you, Jeremy. 2020.
How many times have I gone to a video game store and purchased a physical copy and opened it and didn't like the game? I couldn't return it.
You can trade it in.
But I couldn't return it.
Yeah, and that's shit too. Like, do you really think I'm going to defend that?
So go buy physical copies if you're on the fence, so you can have some trade-in value.
Or buy from services that actually let you refund products if you don't like them.
So you can buy the Nintendo games from a different service?
No, because they have a monopoly on Nintendo games being sold only on the Nintendo eShop.
I mean, the company that develops the game has a monopoly on the game.
They don't develop every game on Switch, Jeremy.
So, the point is, they go buy it on another system.
Okay, then that's your answer.
Okay, then. So what's the problem?
Apparently, we don't have one.
It's not a widespread problem. You can find specific instances. You can say this is a flaw. That's fine. A flaw is there. A widespread problem is releasing a broken game that was marketed as something it wasn't. That is a widespread problem. Releasing a game that someone has a subjective opinion on
at no point
is a different
have I
story.
Defended them releasing Cyberpunk in the state that they did. I'm saying that.
But you did bring up that Sony has a bad return policy, and it's like that has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with. No, it doesn't. Then why have we never talked about Sony's bad return policy until Cyberpunk released broken?
I don't know. Maybe
because it wasn't a widespread
talk about
problem.
It when I wanted to return my pre-order of The Last of Us 2, and it took me 4 days and 3 hours on the phone.
Don't pre-order games, Mark. Everybody knows this shit.
Jeremy, that was me returning a product on their service.
Everybody knows not to pre-order games. Don't fucking pre-order games. It's a fucking trap. Everybody knows this.
Okay, so what? Wait for reviews that might tell you that the game's broken.
If you're on the fence, yes.
Well, that
Okay.
but that's
so
but
then
that's,
fuck them too, Jeremy.
but that's
right?
the problem. That's the problem with this game, because whether you pre-ordered or not, you never got to know. You never got to know from anyone who reviewed this game how bad it was on console, because CDPR didn't let people review it on console. The only thing we heard was this 2 weeks before from the CEO. Cyberpunk runs surprisingly well on current gen consoles at an investor meeting, where once again they continued the lies in the lead up to this. And I think that this is really the reason that we have had such the blow up. The fact that the game released the way it was, it is what it is. It's everything that happened before this that has exposed CDPR for lying and deceiving their loyal fan base in order to get their money right before Christmas.
I think it kind of goes into the Last Jedi thing where, again, I've said this many times, you can release a bad movie, but once you release your bad movie, don't call the fans racist and sexist because they called out your bad fucking movie. And in this situation, if you're going to release a broken game, that is one thing. It's all this big piece to this puzzle that comes together. But now the game is broken. Then you go back and you look at everything that happened prior to that led up to it. And not only can you look at it and go, not only to release a broken game, they actively knew it was broken by the steps they were taking. And it just continues to make this entire situation bad. In isolation, if you release a broken game, or if you release a bad game, or if you do this, things can be forgiven. But when there is this swell of nonsense that surrounds it either before or after, so if you're lying and misleading to people before the game releases, knowing that it was broken, and that becomes true once you play the game and then look back on the marketing, that's a bad thing. If you give a bad movie like Lucasfilm did with Last Jedi, and then after the fact, everybody's criticizing you, call them a fucking racist or a sexist, these are bad fucking things. These are really bad. And that is adding to the controversy. It's not isolated to one thing or the other.
What about
But it begins
that?
and ends. But it begins and ends with a good game or a bad game.
What about that emergency conference call they did where they all sat down like, yeah, we all know how bad this is. We knew in advance.
Yeah, we knew.
You won't hear me defending any of that, and I haven't at any point. So,
Well, I think one of the problems is they continue to do this kind of like, well, we're being very open with you, but actually we're not. But actually, we're not going to tell you investors the amount of games that get refunded. We're not going to provide that information to you. You know, they're still doing this thing where they're trying to hide some shit. We're going to tell you how many we sold, but not how many were returned. Very strategic in your stocks and the fucking.
I kind of take this philosophy as the same as anything like with Hollywood or whatever. None of these game companies give a fuck about you as an individual. They don't care about individuals in terms of what we really want. They want to produce something that's going to make us pull money out of our wallet and give them. That's from Nintendo, Bethesda, EA, CD Projekt Red, all of that. They all just care about money, which is fine. That's fine. It doesn't make them bad people. Just like in Hollywood, they all fucking hate your guts if you disagree with them politically. That just has to be said. But if it doesn't affect your experience, that's where I can separate it. Like, as long as it doesn't affect my experience. And CD Projekt Red, I have nothing against them. I've heard nothing but good things about them over the years, and that's fine. They've earned that reputation for a reason. It didn't just
anytime anyone brought anything bad up, it got defended.
Which is a good thing. And I think that's a good thing. Oh, I do. I like passionate fan bases, regardless if I agree or disagree with them. I like to see passion, because if I see passion, then it makes me go, where did the passion come from? Okay. And then you get the details. So I see passion from Raylos. Raylos are weird. Okay. But then I look at the details and I go, yeah, the passion is that they have a specific narrative and agenda. Oh God, fuck you, Lethal Lightning. They have a specific narrative and agenda behind their passion. Whereas CD Projekt Red fans, I believe that all of that passion and defense was built up for the right reasons. Same with Nintendo fans. You know, they have their reasons why they support the company, whether you agree or disagree with that. We are now at a point where CD Projekt Red is kind of looking like every other game developer and game company. Because why? It all begins and ends with a bad game. That's it. If Cyberpunk was released and released well and the masses loved it, we wouldn't be talking about any of this shit. We wouldn't be talking about return policies. We wouldn't be talking about their secret meeting. We wouldn't be talking about what they said about the console, because none of it would matter, because the game would be good and people would be loving it. And CD Projekt Red would not be viewed as shitty people anymore, because it begins and ends with a bad game.
Like Brian said before we went live, it's like, could they have picked a worse time for that GOG announcement as well?
Yeah. Let's start some super chats. Get through a couple of you guys super chats. Thank you guys so much, and then we'll get back to it, because there's more to discuss about it. There's really not. You can't really underestimate like the fall that we've seen. You know, from where they were 10 days ago to where they are now.
I think I mentioned this, but it's because they don't really have anything else going at the moment. So again, Nintendo made like 4 all-time fucking terrible decisions like in the past 3 weeks, like some of the most boneheaded decisions. And it's almost like they just sit around and go, how big of a dicks can we be to our fans? And the Etika Joy-Cons, the Smash tournament, the Splatoon thing. I mean, then they, I think it's Gunnar Renee, it's this big YouTube channel that has all of these scores from Nintendo games and other games, and they copyrighted, they mass copyrighted that channel, all within all of this shit. And if that's all you have to go on, then Nintendo would have just guns pointed at them, and the Nintendo fans were fucking mad. But they also have the Switch breaking records. They have Super Nintendo World. They have all these positive things to offset it. Right now, CD Projekt Red only has Cyberpunk. I'm not saying it's the only thing they've ever developed. I'm saying currently right now, there's nothing else to point to go, this is great. This is great. Yeah, they fucked up here. And that's the optics that they're dealing with right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that might be part of it. And they're obviously not going to have anything for quite a while from here. The next project I think they have in the works is Cyberpunk multiplayer with microtransactions. So you have that to look forward to in 2023, maybe. Geeky Pixie for $2. Good morning, geeks and gamers, and hello, chat. Hello, Geeky Pixie. Thank you. Blue-Eyed Scorpio for $5. I haven't really noticed any bugs. It runs perfect on my Game Boy. Thank you, Blue-Eyed Scorpio.
Switch version's on point. I'll tell you what, Switch version's killing it.
Ironically, I've heard the Stadia version runs pretty well. I like
because it's the PC version just being streamed.
Yeah, I think that I think that's one of the funniest things of all. Maybe all the devs' time was making sure that they'd be able to run it on Stadia, like make sure everything lined up perfectly, and they forgot about the consoles. Anthony Arribas for $1.99. Remember, fellas, they made The Witcher 3. Thumbs up. They did. That's what we all get reminded of. And again, The Witcher 3 launched very buggy, certainly. But I think the difference has really been the lead up to everything, and obviously the hype. But they helped build this hype. You know, like they've been a part of marketing it this way, and especially the lies they've told on console specifically from 2019 until now. Have been pretty egregious, and I think that's why you're having a lot of this backlash.
Hang on. Gonzalo said the music channel is called Silva Gunner. So is Silva Gunner because they have everything on that channel. They still have a lot of Nintendo stuff too, but they got hit in mass by Nintendo. It's bullshit. Go ahead, Lethal.
Let's say on top of that, Ryan, what about like all the times they were dunking on people like EA? You know, we'll leave the greed to others. Like I just found one then that I put in the chat. It's them saying, "What are you suggesting our game's going to crash a lot?" Which they posted like a year or two ago.
No, I didn't see that one. Did they really say that?
Just check the private chat.
Oh my god, I just pulled it up. Hold on. All right, here we go. Yeah. This is from May of 2018. Is that when this is, or is it I don't know. Yeah. Oh no, May 18th of 2020. Someone asked them, "Hey, you should do a collab with Pokemon Go. Are you saying our game is going to crash a lot?"
Yes, I am.
Damn.
See, like their Twitter account was a very spicy one. It was taking a lot of digs and doing like a lot of memes, but now they're all coming back and biting them on the ass. We'll leave
I
the green.
think that okay. Like to be fair though, I think the last delay, like the November to December delay, pretty much proves that the Twitter guy has like nothing to do with the decision making people or the developers.
Yeah, but
Like-
it's part of it. I mean, like again,
yeah, I know,
I have
but, like, do you really think that statement was made by a person who was QAing the game and knew how
no,
much
but
it was
the
crashing?
no, but
I
no,
don't
but
think anyone was QAing the game.
yeah, I think it just shows a bigger, like, again, everything can be used against you when you fuck up on this level, and when you're making those jokes, it comes off a bit conceited and arrogant, which is fine if you release the game and it works. And again, once you guys see Mark's review here on the channel, you're gonna probably, what his review is going to represent is what type of game you're probably going to get in a year from now once this game is complete. Not to say his version is perfect, because he didn't have a perfect experience, but he probably had, I would say, one of, Mark, would you say, based on the specs of your computer, you probably have one of the better experiences
yes,
with this game?
My CPU is not ideally suited to Cyberpunk because of the problems it's been having with multi-threading, which AMD CPUs do. This would get into a lot of tech talk, but Intel CPUs are better suited for Cyberpunk in its current state than AMD processors are. I did do some modding to try to fix it. It didn't really make a huge difference, but it did help a little bit. Although I do qualify like everything in my review with like stating what kind of computer I'm working on. My obviously like my fondness for CD Projekt and my desire to want to defend them, but I also do objectively analyze a lot of aspects of the game. I'm not at all dishonest about the problems that it has. I just will like tell you about the actual like experience of the game. It's the longest video that I've made too. I'm about 10% of the way through editing it at this point, maybe 15, but it's going to be probably about 32 minutes or so. So I try.
Man, it breaks the record because his OnlyFans video is clocked in at 31 minutes.
Yeah,
So broke the record.
Ooh, lucky, like Extra Girl's lucky.
But I also did play on the Xbox One X. Like, granted, not as much, but I fiddled around with that one too. And tip for all console players: turn the motion blur off, and it makes the game a hell of a lot easier to look at.
Yeah. Inquisitor Matthias for $5 doesn't say anything. Thank you, Matthias. Wolfsbane for $2. Funny, there was an update 30 minutes before the stream. There was a big update 1.05 that came out on consoles last night, promising to fix about 70 things. Keep in mind the Avengers big patch was like, we're fixing over 1,000 issues, guys. But unfortunately, even with that, it was supposed to reduce a lot of the crashing. Because I took a look at it this morning when I made a video. A lot of people are still having crashes on PS4, Xbox, and on PlayStation 5. I guess I didn't see anything specific about Xbox Series X or S, but yeah, it probably helped. Hopefully it helped, but a lot of people are having the same problems they were before.
You gotta think it's pretty funny though. Like I put in my request for a refund, and then I get a pop-up saying there's a new update for the game. Like, fuck off, man.
Roger Haynes for Canadian $5. Is Cyberpunk any good on Stadia? Just wondering if the Kennys of the world who can't afford a PS5 or Xbox Series X. I've listened. There's probably only 5 people that have played it, but the ones that have played it, I've heard it actually runs fairly well. Maybe it's a twist. They're like, we've been hearing good feedback from PC and Stadia. Maybe it's because only like 5 people that played it are all.
Google paid them to release the console versions the way they did.
Yeah, maybe that's been Google's plan all along.
Yeah, Stadia though, I think a lot of it will depend on what your current Stadia situation is. Like I got a Stadia, again, like we talked about this before, and everyone made fun of me because I got it free through YouTube Premium, but I got a free Stadia, and so like I have the controller here, and I tried playing Immortals Phoenix Rising on it, and it was running at like sub 25 frames a second, and just it looked like it was pausing every couple seconds too. It was just a horrible experience for me. But I've talked to people in different forums that played that same game on Stadia and we're getting like a solid 60. So I'm like, okay, well maybe it's my internet where I am, but I have 256 megs down. So I'm like, no, well, I don't know how much faster you need it to get for Stadia to work, but maybe I'm just far away from a data center being in Canada, but
Lethal wouldn't even be able to like turn the game on.
My point is, I'm not
I didn't even know the internet.
I'm not, even though like I like the game. In fact, I guess spoiler from my review, it does end with me saying not to buy Cyberpunk 2077 right now. But I I am definitely not comfortable saying, but if you want to roll the dice, get it on Stadia, because I have no idea what your Stadia experience would be like. If you've got, I think that it's safe to say if you have a high-end PC or a next-gen console, you might like it. Like it'll just probably be better in a few months.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would like. I'm legitimately enjoying it. My experiences got better the more I've played it as far as me getting into the world. However, I have had bugs on PC. Like I was saying, I had to reload a save 5 times because I just kept getting in this mission and getting parts where it wouldn't let me heal. It wouldn't let me reload. It wouldn't let me shoot. I randomly got stuck in the fucking wall. My arm got stuck or something. I couldn't see myself, but I figured my arm was stuck in the wall. So it's got some work to be done, but I do think eventually this will be a really good game. You're better off waiting and getting it for $20. That's what I would do if I were like, even honestly, what I would do on console for Lethal, even if Lethal was having like an okay time, it was just like really frustrating. I'd fucking return that bitch, get my $60 back, and buy it 4 months from now when it's like $25.
Yeah, see, that's probably what, if I end up giving it a second chance, that's exactly what I'll do. But did you have the glitch or bug or whatever it was where you just catch on fire?
Well,
I got that.
Well, there's like an overheat mechanism that people can hack you and overheat you. I never had it like you had it where there was literally no one attacking you. Everyone was dead and you got it. That didn't happen to me.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It's like, oh, wow, my chick dick's on fire.
Are you 100% sure you didn't get hacked?
Everyone was dead.
Hack? Oh, okay. Well, I guess that definitely makes sense. But no, just because I remember the first time that I just got what felt like being randomly set on fire was weird too, but it was like the overheating hack. And it's sometimes not easy to, unless you have a perk that shows you where people who are hacking you are, it's not really easy to even figure out if there is a hacker that you're fighting. So that is a little bit tricky at times to figure out. It's, again, an example of weird design, but it's not exactly a bug. And like, I think that's the thing that in criticism of this game I found is most often getting confused as to what's like a problem with the way the game is designed and what is a glitch or a bug. Because much as even I think CD Projekt in their conference call was saying that they look at those similarly, there is a difference in those two things. And I think that actually, as much as like it seemed like I was defending the wanting system in the Angry Joe video we were watching, I was actually saying that it was more serious than it seemed like the video was showing, because it's not just the bug or a glitch or the system's not working properly. It's the systems are poorly designed. And I think that often people will conflate those things. So it's important to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, is this a bug? Is this the game not working properly or not working as intended? Or is this just an aspect of the game that is poorly executed or poorly designed?
Well, somebody who said that in the chat, can't find it now. Where is it at? Anyway, someone has said that's part of the problem, that you can't tell if it's a bug or if it's part of the game. You know,
you can't tell.
So,
like, not to sound like too much of a dick, but like you can tell if you know what you're looking for. But I think,
but
a lot
again,
of people
that's
just see
but yeah,
problems
but
with the
that's
game
not that. But you shouldn't have to be able to make that choice in a game of this magnitude. You shouldn't have to.
Again, like, you keep on referencing scale though, and I really don't think that makes any difference.
It makes all the difference in the world. I mean, again, we've had broken games. We've had broken games released in the past. And they've never faced this amount of criticism because they didn't have 8 million pre-orders.
Yeah, but again, like the problems would still be problems if 2 people bought the game. Like that's kind of where I'm coming from.
But
like,
the response would not be represented as it is now. Again, when you have expectations, when you present yourself the confident ways that they have, when you have all of that going for you, and it's this big of a disaster, this is the response.
I don't like. I guess we're just going to have to like agree to disagree on that. I think that when it comes to like actually like pointing out problems that a game has, how they can be fixed and how they should be addressed, I don't think scale of like sales and audience really matters all that much, unless it's an online game and the servers flat out can't handle the amount of players that need to be on in order for the game to be effective. Like if World of Warcraft crashed once it hit 1,000 players, that would be a serious problem due to scale. But Cyberpunk having bugs because 20 people bought it, or having bugs because 8 million people bought it, doesn't change the fact that Cyberpunk has bugs. Like, like to me, I see no like actual difference.
Well, I understand that, but again, we've never had a true real discussion about refund problems on a mass scale, even with all the broken games that's been released. And this is all represented at the sheer volume that Cyberpunk has. If Cyberpunk sells,
Arkham Knight was probably a good example of refunds on a mass scale for a whole platform that was totally broken on launch. It was PC in that case.
Yeah.
But just for
like,
context,
and don't tell me Arkham Knight was a small game. Like if scale matters.
It wasn't. But I still don't. I don't believe Arkham Knight was even remotely. Cyberpunk is being discussed with GTA
Arkham Knight
in terms
was
of
unplayable on PC, Jeremy.
No.
So was Mortal Kombat 10, which was the next game that
I understand
released.
that, but what I'm saying though is Cyberpunk had GTA level hype. That is almost unheard of. I mean, you can bring things into like we could talk about God of War. We could talk about Breath of the Wild. These are exclusive on one console. This was available on all platforms, and the hype was a GTA level hype. When you get to that stratosphere, everything is going to be overly dramatic and overly criticized, and that is the problem Cyberpunk has.
We don't have to dig into that too much because you and I just are not going to agree on that, because I don't think scale actually really matters when you're talking about discussing the problems that a game has. Like we're only discussing this because of the scale, because Fallout 76 had a big problem, but it didn't have the scale. It's also a huge scale game, Jeremy.
It wasn't like this though.
Well, I think it's a combination.
But doesn't matter. Is my point.
It's a combination of things. We saw in the beta, like we knew what was coming with Fallout 76. We knew it was coming with Anthem because people got a chance to see what this game was, but before the actual launch, CD Projekt Red hid everything from everyone. That it like they
and you won't hear me for a second defending that. I think that their pre-release marketing, I think that their embargo restrictions in particular were absolutely unforgivable. And honestly, I think that every reviewer, aside from guys like SkillUp and ACG, who flat out said, no, fuck those restrictions, I'm not doing it. All the ones, like, ultimately they sold out for like those day one embargo clicks. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Yeah. If they agreed to say, okay, we're not going to touch the console version, we're just going to review it on high-end PCs, and we're just going to use pre-approved trailer footage for our review, they were lying almost as much as CDPR was. I won't say as much or more, but honestly, like I even reached out to CDPR to see if I could get a review copy, because they put up on Twitter like a link that content creators could send to. They never responded to me, but had they responded to me with that embargo, I would have been like, okay, no, there's no chance I'm doing that. Like, flat out, they could have ended me with like, yeah, you just can't use your own footage. I'm like, okay, well, fuck you then. Because I like really, really care about my videos looking very, very good, and also all their trailer footage was 30 frames a second, so that would have driven me up the wall. But, but what I mean is, I never,
Mark draws the line.
but also, I mean, you guys, at least from like even other conversations that we have, you guys know that like my integrity means a lot to me.
Yes,
so I flat out would say, no, I'm not going to play this game I've been looking forward to for like years at this point. And I'm not going to accept this early review copy or have the chance to get a day one embargo date review for Geeks and Gamers, because everything in those terms went against everything I believe in when it comes to what a video game, say, journalist should be doing. And that's why, like, honestly, I have nothing but respect for like SkillUp and ACG, like any of the reviewers that were like, nope, no chance I'm doing that. Like, bravo, guys, because that was the move. That was the move, to take a company that's trying to be dishonest and saying, I'm going to be more honest than you. Like saying, okay, I'm going to abide by every one of your restrictions, just ends up making you look stupid later on. Because like either in the sense of like going too easy on the game and giving it a 10 out of 10, when like that's one of the reasons I don't score my games, because I don't think a game can have as many problems as Cyberpunk has and have you give it a 10 if you're trying to argue that you use a mathematical scale, because there's obviously problems that would knock it down to like at least a 9. If you're going to take one away for all the bugs and glitches, knock it down to a 9. But then also the people that I think on the other side just rushed through the game and gave it lower scores for different reasons that it didn't deserve those lower scores, and probably weren't focusing on things like the glitches or the performance.
That's one of the craziest things about this, because you had some journalists coming out and talking about like 8 paragraphs about transphobia, as their reason why they didn't like this game.
And there's a whole quest line where you're helping a trans woman avenge her husband too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, what are the transphobia people coming from?
They'll never be happy. Never.
But then on the other side, like, you have all the games journalists that just absolutely fucking were like, oh, this game's hyped. People love this game. I'm going to give it a 100. I'm going to give it a 9 or a 10 because I want to. Not even like, even some people were like, this game is fucking a mess. There are so many bugs and glitches, but the experience is amazing. 10 out of 10. And it's like,
because like that's an example of the 10 out of 10 is like, oh, well, my feels give it a 10. And I'm just like, well, so why put a number on it then? Like just say you really like the game. Like, because I don't know, I think once you add math into the equation, you got to start factoring in what subtracts from that number, what adds to that number. And if you
we disagree on that, but I mean, because at the end of the day, it's all subjective. It's all going to be your interpretation of things. So I mean, the number represents
you've seen in Cyberpunk are subjective, Jeremy. Those aren't really happening anymore.
No, I'm saying a person's experience with a game or a movie. And that number just represents their experience. That's it. And you just have to understand that. You can't take it as gospel. It just is an easy way to get a reflection upon what this person felt.
I don't know. Well, but then I think you have to make it very clear that the number means nothing except my feelings. And like at that point,
none of it means anything except for somebody's feelings.
No,
you
that's
can play
not
a game.
true. There are actual objective observations you can make about a
but
product.
objective doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. I objectively think that X-Men Origins Wolverine is a bad fucking movie. I enjoy the fuck out of it, but it's a bad fucking movie.
Bad movie is your objective statement.
Yes.
I liked it is your subjective
Yes.
statement. However, numbers, math is objective. That's my point. That's why I don't like associating math with subjectivity.
It's not objective in this reviewer scenario we're talking about. It's a way to represent how a person, the overall way they felt about it. I don't take it as gospel.
Okay, but I'm saying if you're going to do that, I think you need to make it clear that this number represents my feelings.
But
if you say that
is what I assume,
with a straight face.
Mark, hold on. That's what I assume, though. When I see an IGN reviewer give something a 9, that is based on their judgment and their subjective value of this game based on the others. Whether it was because bugs or glitches didn't matter to them as much because they really enjoyed the story, because I like the shooting, like that is that person's individual score. That's just how it is. Whereas that number coming from you is going to mean something completely different.
Yeah, like for instance, okay, I think Mahler is far better than I will ever be at reviewing things, okay? And he is going to give Spider-Man Homecoming a phenomenal review, and he is fantastic at it. I do not agree with what he thinks about Spider-Man Homecoming. As objective as he is, his viewing and the way he watches that movie is completely different from the way I am going to watch it. We're going to disagree massively. I don't disagree that he thinks it's structurally a good movie, but it is a Spider-Man movie, and I think it's not a bad Spider-Man movie. I actually liked it the first time I watched it, and I don't think it's terrible, but the more I thought about it, the world that Spider-Man inhabits, I do not like. I would like Tom Holland. But that Mahler is just better at me, objectively better than me at reviewing things. But I still do not agree with his review and the way he views Spider-Man Homecoming. It's just a different philosophy. But at least I know where he stands. And if he gave it a 9 or a 10, at least it just shows me this is what he thinks and how did he get to that point.
I don't know. Again, I don't think we're going to agree on this, but where I think it is, it causes you basically like plot holes in your own like review canon. Because if you say The Last of Us
Review
2
canon?
Well, like like the canon of work. A canon is not necessarily just lore. It's also like your
history.
Hemingway books were like that was his canon, even though they're not in a shared universe, right? But so it causes you problems because then you got to start arguing why a certain thing is a 7, even if the thing that you admit is better is a 6. right? Because like you could be like, oh well, I just like this one more, and it gets really, really, really confusing. So I don't like using numbers at all, and I think a lot of the Cyberpunk reviews, especially the 10s, pretty much prove that. And like, again, if you want to specifically cite like, yes, it's 100% subjective, this number doesn't mean anything except my feelings, cool, but show me one review that's ever said that, really. Like, they all do it as if they're doing an actual like product analysis where they're going through the game, talking about the graphics, talking about the gameplay, and then they slap a number on it at the end, and they rarely justify the number.
Yeah, I think that just
useless.
Greg fucking Miller has influence in a lot of these reviewing processes. That's what it takes to be a reviewer. It's kind of funny to kiss up. So I question every review generally from any major platform because I believe they're all compromised. So even if the context of the review is this X, Y, and Z, it's still compromised by these shills and these fucks like Greg Miller. At the end of the day, the number represents the feedback of when you go to Metacritic, you can look and go, oh well, look at the user reviews on Metacritic. Well, user reviews on Metacritic are shit, but it represents how people are feeling. So like, you look at the reviews for like, okay, so Call of Duty. If I go, okay, this Call of Duty has only a 4.3, that means people don't hate it as bad as I expected. It means it's probably pretty good if it only has a 4.3. Because the really hated games have a 2.
I mean, again, like I don't want to sound like a dick to anybody who might do this, but I think if you go to a Metacritic in order to, like, as your only means of figuring out whether you want to buy a product and then spend money based on a number you saw on Metacritic, you might be an idiot. Like, well, you really should investigate a product a little bit more than looking at a number that a bunch of people have clicked on who may or may not like the game or movie or whatever it is for any number of reasons that might have nothing to do with the things that you would value.
Cyberpunk 2077 is a buggy mess, and CDPR higher-ups are fuckheads. That's my objective opinion.
CDPR lied, people died.
Yeah, I try to warn y'all. Inquisitor Matthias, $5 doesn't say anything. Thank you. Geeky Pixie for $2. I've accidentally thrown a grenade when healing. Lol. That hasn't happened to me yet. Jade Shadow for $2.99. Mark the Shillborg.
We can't call. Well, that's only fair because we can't call him the other thing we used to call him, so we had to change it for Twitch rules.
On Twitch, you can't.
We can call whatever the fuck we want.
Hey, if Mark's being called a shill, I get called the Dave Filoni Nintendo shill, so it's all good, man. So.
The difference is it's true about you. Geeky Pixie for $2. Wait until Mark's review where his true power shows.
I'm going to enjoy watching that review more than I've enjoyed playing the game. I can guarantee that.
Well, that's not a very high bar.
No, it's not. Still,
Brown Gaijin for $2. Journalists could have told us about this, but no. Yeah, it's a complete failure from them, which isn't a surprise. Krista Joe for $5. Have you guys minus Lethal recovered yet from the G&G ladies impersonating you on their stream last week? So glad I became a premium member to see it.
To show that really
Tugs was dropping so many F-bombs.
I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to show everybody really quick. I got to pull it up on Twitter. So for premium members on the website, we do a lot of live streams and we have a lot of discussions, and the girls decided last week that they were going to dress up as all of the guys, and let's see, even though Lethal didn't get any love, he's mad about that, so it's all right.
Yeah,
we're gonna hang on, let's see, do a screen share, boom, boom, boom. Tugs dropping F-bombs seriously bothers me. It bothers me a lot. She dropped more. Angry Vader said Tugs.
It would be weirder if it was Krista.
It would be, but Tug said, or Angry Vader says Tugs as Ryan talked more shit to him than the real Ryan. She kept telling him to fuck off. It was great.
What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today, for premium members, we're going to be playing Mario Kart with my Geeks and Gamers peeps. What's up, guys?
Man, what the fuck kind of an intro is that?
Oh my God.
What's going on, Geeks and Gamers?
Ryan,
what's up, everybody?
I can say for sure, X-Ray Girl's beard was more disturbing in person.
Yeah, that was pretty good. They tried to stay in character as much as they could throughout racing, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I know because they were talking about getting. I still, and yes, I am getting Lethal his robe. It is happening. It's going to say, "Wake the fuck up."
That's
it's going to happen. It fucking will happen. Fuck you, Ryan. I'll go do it today just to spite of you. I'll send you a pink one. I'll send you a pink one, Ryan, with Dave Filoni's quote, where it says, "Oh my God, a female character."
I'll wear it. I'll wear it if you send it.
Send him that and a jar of peanut butter.
But yeah, but there was discussion about we need to get a robe for Lethal because they were wanting to be Lethal. So, but we will get Lethal the robe. So, no doubt.
That's all I've asked.
Glinzer for $5. If Switch is a Wii U upgrade, like PlayStation 4 is a PS4 upgrade, is Switch part of this gen?
All right, say that again now.
If Switch is a Wii U upgrade, like PlayStation 4 is a PS4 upgrade, or like PS4 Pro, is Switch part of this gen?
I wouldn't say so.
I mean,
three years ago, almost 4 years old. Like,
I think the Switch is a direct response to the failure of the Wii U. I think if the Wii U was successful, then the Switch wouldn't have released when it released. I think it would have definitely released it, several years later. But the Wii U was such a massive failure that the Switch just was. It was Nintendo reacting to their own failure and speeding up the process and abandoning the Wii U. That's really what it comes down to.
There you go. Joshua Knox, it's his birthday today. Well, happy birthday, Joshua. Hope it's a good one. Almost near Christmas. I bet you feel overshadowed a lot.
Do you want to hear something hectic? My aunt, her birthday is on the Christmas Eve. So like literally no one gives a fuck about her birthday.
Well, yeah, fuck her, right? Everyone's just getting together and want to get drunk. Yeah,
she got wrecked, man. You think she get 2 presents? Fuck that. You get 1.
Glinzer for $2. Superman 64 to Cyberpunk 2077. Hold my beer.
Oh, that was on a Nintendo console, so it's perfect.
Eskimo Phono for $2. Is Aliens the Terminator 2 of the Alien franchise?
Yeah,
if by that you mean it's the second best in the franchise, yeah, sure.
I'm actually on team Aliens, not Alien, so we differ there, Lethal. But no, I'd say that they're probably comparable. They were a horror movie, essentially like a sci-fi horror film that got a sequel that was much more of a large-scale action film. And they're both, all of them are really good. Like even though I think Terminator 1 is better than Terminator 2, I still like Terminator 2 a lot.
Yeah, good man.
Personally, I think the season finale of Mandalorian was the best Terminator show I've ever seen.
Yeah, because Mando was invincible.
No, it just
basically
felt like 2
Terminators fighting when he was fighting
it felt the Dark Troopers felt like Terminators. So
I mean,
I like how basically the only time we've ever seen Mando hurt through his Beskar armor is in the season 1 finale where he fucking gets exploded and like where he's close to where something explodes and he literally has a concussion. Right? He has a concussion because of what happened, but he just gets punched fucking over and over again in the fucking helmet by the Terminator. And it's fine.
I have a lot of issues with the Beskar. Like honestly,
the fact that he got dazed when Gina Carano hit him in the fucking head when they met, he kind of got dazed for a second. But no,
vagina power, Ryan.
Eskimo Phono for
him turning his back on Moff Gideon, it annoyed the shit out of me. I'm like, that is the stupidest fucking thing you can do. Like, this guy's so dumb. At least it's
consistent with his character. Fucking dumb. Eskimo Phono for another $2. CD Projekt Red is now Shady Project. I've seen CD Projekt Red. I like that one a lot. So we'll see.
My favorite one is Cyberpunk 76.
Oh, that's so easy.
That's fucking
I saw
fun,
like 30 people make that joke the first day, though.
Because it's so funny, man. It's brilliant.
I don't know. A bunch of people get on like posting it as if they just thought of it, too. And I was like, oh, God, I get it.
I saw Ricky Berg do it, and I was like, man, this fucking spastic's a genius.
He's pretty funny in general.
Commandant VHS for $5. There's a difference between broken game and not liking it, just as not liking the style of car and it not running. Agree, Commandant. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Redux, I don't know how the fuck to say this. Radux Georgi for HUF 1000. Is that like Hungarian? I don't even know what that is. Cyberpunk have torrent protection on PC. Nobody pre-order. What happens?
Well, it's on any game on GOG at least has a DRM-free version out there, so it would probably be pretty easy to pirate Cyberpunk 2077 because there's versions out there that I could literally like just upload to my Google Drive and then send the link to all of you. But I won't
right.
because that's like a breach of ethics. And like the CD Projekt, for as much as like everyone wants to hate on them, that's probably the thing they do that is the most consumer-friendly thing like in the industry. They're the only company where if you buy a digital game from them, and not just a CD Projekt game, like any game, you actually own that game. You own that game more than you own even a disc copy of a game, because a disc copy of a game can get lost, can get scratched, can get broken. A DRM-free digital copy, you can make a million different copies of, hide them all around your house, so that just in case one day CD Projekt goes out of business because they release a buggy game, you have copies of, I don't know, like Fallout New Vegas and Wolfenstein the New Colossus, and any game you bought on GOG you could just have on different hard drives around your house. So I don't know. I think that like it's one of the reasons why I do feel compelled to defend them when people are like, oh, they're exactly the same as EA and Activision and Ubisoft. And I'm like, okay, like, do any of those companies sell DRM-free games? Or if Valve goes out of business, do I lose all my Steam games? Because the answer to that's yes. If EA goes out of business, do I lose all my Origin games? Yes. Same with Ubisoft and Uplay. And like, I just think CD Projekt still deserves a bit of leeway for being consumer friendly because they definitely fucked up. They definitely have a lot to make up for. But I still think they're several steps above most of the other companies in the industry. And I don't think that enough people are giving them that credit. I think it seems to be that this week has been just, oh, let's gang up on CD Projekt. CD Projekt lied, people died, as you guys all even say. But it's like, okay, well, yeah, but are you going to be consistent about that? So every company that treats you as poorly as they did in that one instance, are you going to boycott? Are you going to not buy games on almost any other digital platform? Because, I mean, if the answer is yes, then at least you're being consistent. But I think most people are just jumping on a hate train.
I think it should be consistent to call things out. If in the same, like, this is what I've been saying for months. Like, if someone did something and we would, if their name was EA or if their name was Ubisoft, and we would blast them for that, we would give them shit for that, we would criticize them, then we should have been doing the same thing with CD Projekt Red. And unfortunately,
yes, and I think that the difference, though, even in how they've handled it since, is CD Projekt has, like, at the very least, if we want to like deal with the tact with which they've done it, they still have taken responsibility, apologized, told people to go get refunds, forced Sony's hand to actually give all those people refunds, and I think Sony overcorrected and just ripped it off the store because I think they wanted to find a way to honor those refunds without having to change their actual trash refund policy, where if you initiate a download, you own that game forever. And Microsoft's been pretty cool about returns from what I've been hearing lately, at least in the last week. So, like, I mean, ultimately, I think that if refunds are easy enough to get, I pretty much think that this whole thing is a non-issue, because ultimately, if you bought the game and can return it and get your money back, the only harm is that you wasted some time.
See, I think with everything we've seen, I have a different perspective. I think that they said go refund it, hoping that Sony wouldn't. Knowing their policy, knowing that Best Buy and GameStop, all these other places
doesn't really jive at all with GOG's return policy, though. The store that they control, you have 30 days to return a game, even if you've played it. There's no limit on playtime. I have 50 hours in Cyberpunk, and I could return my copy right now. It's the only storefront that they actually have control over. They make it very easy for you to refund everything.
That's fine, but this is why I think they said that. This is why they said, hey, go to these places. Go get your refund for them. If you can't figure anything out, then email us. We'll send you out an automated response, and we'll get back to you before the end of the year, we promise. But with everything we've seen, With everything we've seen, it's completely changed my perspective on that. It's completely changed my perspective on me thinking that
I'm
they're
seeing it the other way.
doing
I
this
think
goodwill.
them putting out that public statement saying go to your retailer or your storefront that you bought it at and ask for a refund, that put Sony in a position where they had to actually do something for those customers. Whereas otherwise, Sony would have just been doing the things they were doing for the first couple days, which is being like, we're sorry, but once you've initiated the download, your money's ours forever.
If they really felt that way, if they really honestly felt that, they would have fucking talked to them before they put out that statement. They would have talked to Sony.
I think Sony would have said, no, absolutely don't fuck off.
Sony fucking had to call them and say, hey, what the fuck? You just told everyone you flooded our shit.
They had assholes like me ringing them up, yelling at them to get a refund.
Good.
We're going to refund everything, and we're going to...
I like, especially with the shit I had to go through to cancel, again, my pre-order of Last of Us 2. The game was not even out yet, and I was just like, I would like my money back for this game that isn't out because you copyright struck the channel that I work for. And they still disconnected me from Live Agent twice, finally got through to me the third time. I was on hold for an hour and a half before I actually got to talk to somebody, and that person made me look through my credit card history to find the exact day that I pre-ordered The Last of Us 2. Like, that is a pain in the ass return policy. Do you know how easy it is to refund a game on Steam? You open up Steam in a browser. You can't do it through the app for some reason, so I think that's a bit of a problem. You say, I would like to refund this game. A day later, they just make sure that you haven't played over 2 hours and it's been less than 14 days since purchase, that you requested it, and then they give you the money. Like, it's that easy. It's not, you don't have to ever talk to a person. You don't have to ever even type into a live agent. You just send them an email, essentially, and that's that. But, like, I don't know. I think that if any good has come out of this whole clusterfuck, and believe me, like, as a person who likes CD Projekt, I wish that all this didn't happen. Hell, as a person who likes Cyberpunk, I wish it didn't have nearly as many problems as it had. I think that if it pushes the console storefronts to actually, like, adopt better return policies, then at least some good will have come out of it. I don't know if they're going to, though, because I think that Sony did the pulling it off the store specifically so they wouldn't have to actually address the return policy for other games. They could just be like, well, we're taking this off because it's broken.
Yeah, I mean, speaking on the consistency, I mean, I've been consistent saying if you release a good product, and that's begins and ends with that. You release a good product,
it doesn't end with that. Though. So, like, I mean, it really doesn't.
It really does. Name the last great game that was released that was surrounded by problems.
Though, any game can come out and be bad, and then any person could then want a refund for that game. Which, so, like, whether it begins and ends, like, saying that is easy, but ultimately, I still own a copy of Mass Effect Andromeda. I would like to not, but I couldn't because I downloaded it on PlayStation.
Well, I understand that, and that's a bad game, and that's why we're talking about Andromeda right now. We're not talking about Mass Effect 1 or 2. We're talking about Andromeda, a bad game.
No. I was talking about Sony's return policy.
And you're only talking about return policy because it's a bad game. If games are good, then you're not wanting to return it.
You're right about everything. Forget it.
I'm just saying, name the last game that was good that you wanted to return.
Okay, but I think Cyberpunk
begins and ends.
Good. Other people don't. I think they should be able to return the game. I think that you should be able to return Doom Eternal if you didn't like it. That's probably my favorite game of the year. Like, I don't think that the quality of the game should really matter for for what the return policy should be. Ultimately, if you didn't like it and you didn't play, granted with GOG, you can play all of it. But I think if you've only played a little bit of a game and decide, oh, this game sucks, you should be able to get your money back.
I mean, again, if return policy was the end-all, be-all to the gaming industry, then people wouldn't be questioning, like, who is this GOG.com? Because no one even knows about it.
But it is relevant to what's going on now.
It's relevant when you release a broken game.
All right. I think it's also relevant when you buy a game that you hate.
Yeah. Well,
just a quick question. What do you think was worse, the launch of this game or the launch of EA Battlefront 2?
Hard to say. I'd say in the context of history, Battlefront 2, because it actually got
laws changed.
EU to change laws. That's pretty crazy. But I don't know. I think there was some talk about a class action lawsuit against CD Projekt, so this might have legal implications as well. I think if it forces more transparency in pre-release game marketing, I think that would be a good thing as well.
See, I loved Battlefront 2 from the moment it released. I'm not saying that it didn't have these widespread issues, because it clearly did, but a lot of this loot box and all of this stuff really wasn't a problem for me, but it was clearly a huge problem for many, and it destroyed that game. They destroyed that game with their bad business practices, and they deserve all of the criticism. But from the game standpoint, I don't recall it being broken. I don't recall the game.
It was definitely the campaign was written like shit. I'll say that much.
Yeah, but it worked.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah.
But that was a bad. But if you just want to talk about bad release versus bad release,
Honestly,
really
I'd much
bad.
prefer play a janky RPG that has an awesome story than a perfectly working game that has a trash story. Like that's a matter of preference.
But then you'd say that the trash story that's perfectly working was the better release.
Battlefront was really bad.
Like,
though.
but I mean that wasn't the only problem with Battlefront's release.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that, like, as far as
problem.
like, I only took issue with people being like, "Oh, Battlefront's an amazing game." It's like, well, let's maybe pump the brakes on that one a bit. Let's say that it was functional. Sure, I won't argue with that, but I don't know that I'd call Battlefront 2 an amazing game. Even now, I think it's okay. It definitely got better.
I think it's pretty damn great now, but at the release, it wasn't amazing objectively, but I did enjoy it. What's up, Young Rippa?
Young Rip in the chat says it wasn't broken like this. That's for sure.
We want to get you on here in the next few weeks, Rippa. If you want to hop in now, you can. We can send you a link. Razor Fist is supposed to join us. He does have a link, although he didn't see the message. So I don't know if he realized what time this was when he agreed to it. He probably thought this was later on in the day, but that's fine. We will get that squared away. But yeah, if Rippa wants to hop in, I can send him a link real quick.
Me and Ripper can talk about Avengers.
Yeah, the only two. Speaking of GOG business practices, is probably a good segue. So this happened. Ironically, this happens in the middle of maybe the worst week for CD Projekt Red they could have ever imagined. GOG, which a lot of people are asking who it is. It is the digital storefront that is basically managed by CD Projekt. CD Projekt Red makes the video games. They're the developers of the video games. CD Projekt overall also owns GOG.
Group is the overall.
Hey, Rippa, he wants the links. Follow me back on Geeks and Gamers, because you did follow me on D-Day Cobra, but I lost my account. So
yeah,
follow me back.
I'll get it to him.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Lethal, why don't you explain this?
Oh, they cut out to China. Simple as that. This game was like making fun of the Chinese president making the Winnie the Pooh joke. And then, Mark, was this game actually listed on GOG?
Okay, so this game never released on GOG. It was going to be releasing. Wait, what day is it today? Actually, I think it was the 18th that it was supposed to come out. This game was on Steam last year, though, and because of a bunch of Chinese nationalists that like basically protested against it, it was removed from Steam. It's never come to any of the consoles, and everyone thought that it was just kind of lost in the ether forever. Like it was basically like a lost banned game that you could maybe find a pirated copy of, but that's about it. But then GOG announced that they were going to be releasing the game and got, I think, overloaded by some probably similar Chinese nationalists that were basically... my theory, the theory that I have is because GOG has recently integrated the ability to buy games on Epic Games Store through the GOG client, and Epic Games is 40% owned by Tencent. So I think that this release might have jeopardized their relationship with Epic, and I absolutely hate Epic, so I have zero sympathy for that. But I think that the only explanation for this to be announced and then taken down so quickly in the middle of what's already like a PR clusterfuck for CD Projekt is that something serious went down that would have actually cost them like a lot of money. So again, not defending it. I think it sucks.
We heard X-Ray Girl. We heard X-Ray.
Yeah, she's an anime.
Why does she fucking sneeze so much? What is wrong with her?
She's holding two dogs right now. I don't know.
Did you send Rippa a link?
I did. Yeah, he's got the link.
Dude, so if Rippa joins us, we are going to break the internet. We're going to make history. We're going to have the only two people on the planet that like the Avengers in one stream. That is.
Speaking of that, I see him. Here he is, Young Rippa. Eric July, what's up, man?
What's up, man? He's laggy.
Nah, he's using his Cyberpunk filter.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, you're laggy, man. You might want to rejoin.
Now I'm not the only one with good lighting.
He's got running a lower frame rate than Cyberpunk on base PS4 right now.
Yeah, we can't.
Disable motion blur, Ripa.
Yeah, Ripa, probably bounce and come back. I don't know what's going on with the. It might be StreamYard.
Maybe. Yeah, it was fucked up for me yesterday. That's for sure. Yeah, it's funny. The last stream I was on with Ripa is when I went pixelated.
The famous pixelated Ryan moment.
Yeah,
and he got kicked. He got kicked with that one too because he had thunderstorms in his area because he messaged me right before, and he's like, "Hey, I'm probably gonna get kicked." Right. And Ryan and his pixelated ways ruining everything.
All right, I see him. He's back. He looks to me like it's still like weird frame rate shit. But I'm gonna pop him back in. We're gonna see if it works.
On mine, it looks fine. Like I'm moving smooth on mine. I don't know what's.
We can at least hear you. Maybe
now.
Just go off screen. Maybe just go off camera.
I don't know. I maybe use my other camera or something. Hold on, let me see something.
Okay.
It's so laggy. I feel like I want to return him on PlayStation and get my money back.
Well, if enough people request it, maybe Sony will cave and actually let you do it.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Now we do have the only two people on the internet that like the Avengers in this stream. The only two people that are keeping it relevant.
They probably get matched in like every single time they go live. That's a little better.
There we go.
That's better.
That's better.
My shit camera. I'm using my DSLR. Doesn't like it for some reason. It looks fine on my side, but I don't know why.
It did look good when we saw it, but it was.
Listen, you can't expect to run this software on 7-year-old hardware.
I think StreamYard, like speaking from my experience, StreamYard doesn't seem to really like DSLRs anyways. That's why everyone says that I look kind of grainy on the podcast. Like, I'm by far using the best camera of anyone here, and I kind of look the worst for some reason. But
what are you saying about my Target $75 webcam?
It's not as good as my Canon DSLR, Jeremy. I'm saying.
Dude, look,
that's a subjective opinion.
Yeah, dude, listen. My camera has Super Mario Galaxy and Breath of the Wild, so it's clearly superior to yours in all ways possible.
Well, my camera can emulate Breath of the Wild at 60 frames a second. How's your Switch doing?
Now, Ripa has been playing this game. Ripa was ahead of the curve talking about CD Projekt Red, and their fan base that went rabid whenever you say anything bad about them, even if it's a legitimate critique. What's been your experience so far for Cyberpunk?
Me and Razorfist, and I want to give props to him because it's my guy, have probably been the only guys that were like on the internet, like that were big enough YouTubers that were calling this company for what it was before this game came out. I know CD Projekt Red was treated like everybody's like darling, right? Because of the Witcher series, which is a solid series. Glitcher 3 was a fantastic experience when you got the game to work, especially after it was patched, June, July, and what have you. And I think a lot of people got lured by not only that, but the rhetoric. They're one of those companies that, and this is as someone who used to work in marketing, like genius marketing, because what they had did was talk themselves a great game, and they talked themselves into perpetuating this idea as if they were different from the other companies, right? They would take shots at other countries. Hey, we leave the greed to the other guys, and all sorts of things. And they've been, because of the DLCs that they released, and what have you, they have perpetuated this idea as if they were different, and it worked. Now, the argument that I was making before all of this took place about CD Projekt Red was that they had the benefit of releasing games unlike what a lot of their competitors were, right? It is it's an RPG. They were known more so for the Witcher series. So when we talk about the standard, more modernized monetization, be it in microtransactions and stuff like that, they have no reason to put that in their game. So it's easy for them to be able to talk shit about all of that. And we saw coming closer to the release of Cyberpunk, they had even already announced when Cyberpunk Online was going to come out, that's going to have microtransactions, right? So again, and they, by the way, they lied about that. Their vice president would say that he didn't understand why people would put microtransaction in his game. So or excuse me, in their games. So they had the benefit of just making different styled games, which really required no sort of monetization. But I saw through that fucking gimmick long before. But this game, I was stoked for because I like the whole concept of Cyberpunk, right? And I got it on both the PC and the console. I was going to do my streaming because I wanted to do it on my streaming PC, so I didn't want to have and I don't with this unit, I don't have like a dual GPU setup, so I didn't want to stream that and have all of that running on my Titan. So I wanted to stream it on the PS5. So my experience on the PS5, or rather the console version of this game, I cannot. I want everybody to understand how, for those that are playing maybe on other consoles and don't understand the experience or why people are saying this release has been so bad. Throughout my entire course, I played so many games from the PlayStation 4 on PlayStation 4's, was it 2013 up to now. There's been no game that has crashed on me like this. None like this. We're talking one session where I'm talking 4 or 5 crashes in one session. I can't even watch my face in the mirror without this game just completely crashing on me. And this is running on what is superior hardware, not 7-year-old console or anything. On what is superior hardware, the PS4 enhanced version on the PlayStation 5. And when people say that it does not function, that's what we mean, or when we say it's unplayable. And I think that's why a lot of the community right now is divided, because you're getting a wide range of different experiences, but you need to understand that for those that say that it does not work or it's completely broken, that is an understatement. To be honest, it is like, it's unplayable. It's literally unplayable. And I moved over to the PC, and don't get me wrong, the PC is not optimized either. It just doesn't crash, and it has some issues there that they I know they're rolling out some more hot fixes and whatnot. I've been documenting all the bugs and all the stuff that I've been getting, but it's not optimized for PC. You got people with 3090s, and this damn game is bringing it to their knees, struggling to get 60 frames without putting the game on potato settings, having to put the DLSS on all the way to the ultra performance just to get the damn thing to work. So this release in itself is interesting to me, because I see a lot of people. It's still a lot of protectionism with this game. They're getting ragged on, and I guess we'll talk about this here in a little bit, because I know y'all were talking about it before. But in my honest opinion, I can make the argument that CD Projekt Red did was arguably worse than what the other companies did when they released games in a broken state, considering how much they lied. They literally lied about it, and most specifically, and how this game performed on the other consoles. It's flat out admitting in the investor call that they ignored it. Those are all of the things that people gripe about. You know, we're talking about Avengers, right? That's the same damn thing that people talk about when they say Avengers, it's the live service, it's the microtransactions. So it incentivizes these companies to put out games that are not finished because they have that form of monetization, and they just want your money. Well, what the fuck did CD Projekt Red just do? CD Projekt Red just put out a game they knew had issues on several consoles. They admitted that they ignored it, and they still put it out. So the things that people fear that games with microtransactions would do, CD Projekt Red did it, and they admitted it. So, this has been a rocket.
That's where, and I was going to bring up the Avengers, and you're like, you and Lethal literally are the two people I've seen that still play this game. So yeah. Marvel, send your checks to Lethal Lightning and Young Ripa. But what is your experiences? Like, Lethal played it on a base PS4, whereas Mark has played it on a top tier PC. So Mark's experience has been significantly different than Lethal Lightning.
To be fair, I've also played it on an Xbox One X.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Granted, that's the top end Xbox One, and it's not bad. It still runs at 30 frames a second, which I personally don't like at all for first person shooters, or RPGs, whatever you would want to call Cyberpunk. But turning the motion blur, I think, helps a lot. So I think if you're playing on console, try turning the motion blur off, because that made it go from it feeling like I was drunk anytime I turned the camera to it just looking like it was running at a bad frame rate. And by bad, again, I mean 30, because I'm one of those guys. I really hate playing games, first-person games at 30.
I think the expectation, I think the base expectation is that it should play in 1080p at 30 frames per second. That's not that's not out of this world. That is what you should get from the game.
And I want to be clear. I think that is completely reasonable, and I do not think it was acceptable that they released any version running at least mostly at that target. I think the PS4 version hitting 15 frames a second for extended periods of time is absolutely unacceptable.
What were you going to say, Lethal?
No one expected it to run on a PS4 as good as it would on a PC. No one is saying that. I'm going to get the PS4 experience. No way is that going to be as good as the PS5 or the PC experience. But I don't throw this word around a lot, but it is unfucking playable. Like, it crashes constantly. Like, there was parts where I streamed it. The only time I played this game was when I streamed it, and it crashed twice or 3 times on my stream. There was bugs and glitches galore, and like the frame rate. I'm not Mark. I don't get into the frame rate stuff, but there was moments where I was going like, it kind of was making me dizzy with how slow the frame rate was loading. It was just like it was in like 10 frames per second or some shit like that. The textures weren't loading. I was talking to like the IGN thumbnail. That's how I experienced this game. Unfucking playable.
I thought those were like fake when we first saw those videos coming out. I was like, there's no way this can actually be real. Turns out that's a lot of people experienced it. And this is the reason that I think it is such a big deal, and why anything that happens going forward from CD Projekt Red, people are going to look at with fucking, oh, really? Is that really the case? This is back in 2019. One of the things we learned with The Witcher 3 was you should not delay working on the console versions ever. So at all times, we have a version running for everything. And of course, the high-end version we're showing running is completely different to the consoles. The current gen is starting to get old. So there's some things which won't look as crisp. But the important thing to us is that it will be fluid. It will play on your machine. There are limitations for any given hardware. That's natural. But we'll do everything we can to squeeze in as much as we can. And then again, keep in mind, 2019, before anybody would have had, before like PS5 and Xbox Series X, before we even like really knew like anything about them, we're targeting consoles as first-class platforms, and it looks amazing there. So obviously, if you spent $2,000 building your PC, it's going to look better. But the graphics are quite amazing for what you're going to get from Cyberpunk on consoles and low-end PCs. And these lies continued for the next 2 years. That to me is the major fucking.
Well, I mean, like, can you call them lies when they're like in 2019 though? But like, I mean, the game's not finished. Like,
I kind of see. Yeah, I do see Mark's point on that. Again, did they lie? Yes, specifically to that particular article.
Closer to release, they absolutely lied. Like,
yeah, I don't think that's specific.
I think though that if you're doing an article like a year and a half before the game comes out and being like, yeah, we're targeting a smooth experience on all platforms, I don't think that's a lie. I think that's just setting a target that they didn't hit.
That's true. That's true. But that article does show that the people that keep saying, oh, all these people that are playing it on old hardware on 7-year-old, no, motherfucker, because they told people it was the expectation of the purchase meant that it was going to play on this. To be fair,
as the biggest hardware purist on this stream, I don't find that to be an acceptable answer. Like, I don't think if you say, well, did you really expect it to run playable on your like 7-year-old hardware, I don't think is an acceptable excuse. Because, as Jeremy, you've always said, if it's being sold on that hardware for full price, it should work properly on that hardware. Right. And I completely agree with that. I want to be very, very clear. I'm not at all defending CD Projekt's pre-release marketing, at least, again, like in advance of the release to a reasonable time. I was just saying there that I think if they're talking about performance targets, year and a half before they actually have a game to sell, I don't know if I would call that a lie. I think that's being a little bit hard on them.
And here's the other problem with this statement. When they came with their apology, we're sorry. We knew there were a lot of issues on consoles, but we kind of ignored them. We thought that we could get it right. Bullshit. You told us in fucking January of 2019 that, well, we know after The Witcher 3 that we really need to pay a lot of attention to console. That there's so much bullshit and fucking like find the queen shit going on right now with CD Projekt Red.
Yeah,
they're lying, they're misleading, they're deceiving to get all their fucking loyal fan base, right? They're trying to get your fucking money. They are just like everybody else. That's what I am coming to realize with CD Projekt.
Again, like I will again take issue with the just like everybody else, because everybody else isn't selling DRM free games. Everybody else doesn't have a return policy the way they do, and like they I think that like you should give them a little bit of credit for actually taking responsibility and saying, yeah, this game isn't up to our standard. We're sorry, and if you're not satisfied, you should go get a refund. Because there's no chance Naughty Dog would say that about Last of Us 2. They would not say, if you didn't like the story, if you didn't like our writing, what we did with it, feel free to go get a refund. We're sorry. Hopefully we'll satisfy you next time. Like, they would not say that. They'd be like, no, if you don't like it, you're just a hater. The game's perfect. Best script ever. Like, or like, I mean, again, that's a top of my head example, but it's so rare for any game company to actually take responsibility for an issue and not just say, well, it works perfectly for us. So like plenty of customers are satisfied. You guys are just haters. Like, I think they deserve a little bit of credit for not taking that route, because they probably would have if they were any other game company.
I'd make the argument that they have no choice but to take that route because the game's that dog shit. Like, I need people to understand when I say that as a gamer, and I game on both PC and I game on both consoles. I have never played
both consoles.
Oh, yes, I also had a Series X back there as well.
3 consoles, Ripper.
Yeah, well, yeah, but no, my thing is that like when the game is that disastrous, you have to admit that it's bad. Like, there's literally nothing else to be said, and that's why I can't even give them leeway for that, because the release was that terrible. Like, for certain people, I think if you didn't experience, and I'm not saying that this is not me saying this to you, Mark, but for those folks that have not experienced got one of those issues where it's literally unplayable. It's that widespread enough for me. I can't even give them credit for acknowledging it, because what other situation, I mean, like, what other thing could they have done? Because it was that broken. It was literally that messed up. Like, it looked like shit on these consoles. You're talking about people running at 10 frames when they're turning around. Like, it doesn't look anything like they even, they of course they admitted the fact that, well, we probably should have showed more footage from those particular consoles. That's my thing, right? That's my thing about this particular game. I can't even give them leeway on it, because what else could they have said? Well, what else could they have said? Yeah, I know we talk about Naughty Dog, and of course, I mean, you ain't gonna find another person on the internet that railed them as hard as I did. But shit, at least the game functioned. I mean, it was dog shit, but at least the game, like, I didn't hear any big time hardware problems with that game, though. Yeah, I played it. It is similar clunky to the first game. That game is more so driven by its story, but at least it worked. For what we're dealing with now, the game literally does not work for certain people. Like, you cannot play it, as in, like, the game says no. You get error messages and it says no because it's not optimized for certain systems. And that's why they had to own up to it. What else could they have done? What else could they have done aside from say, yeah, we kind of fucked up?
I mean, again, like, it would be like just conjecture or like hearsay, but like, I think they could have just been there's a lot of satisfied customers. So like, I mean, there's issues and we'll fix them, but I mean, we stand by our product. Like, there's plenty of companies that do that. Granted, I don't like, that's not a solid argument though. And I think that, especially in the case of, it's why, like, as I was bringing it up, I did kind of regret using The Last of Us as the example, because technical issues are kind of a different story than just saying, like, I think that this game was written like trash. But it's also why I think, though, that them encouraging customers to get refunds is like a little bit on the unprecedented side, because I don't think that there's a lot of other companies that ever would release a statement saying, if you're not satisfied with our product, return it. At least in the video game industry. I don't think WB even did that with Arkham Knight on PC. I think they just took it off Steam and said, yeah, we'll fix it and then put it back up when it's actually done. But yeah, I don't know. You might have a point, though, with the technical situation being a little bit.
I mean, I understand Mark's point. I mean, I do think it's different, though, because yes, Naughty Dog did kind of, shun their noses to the fan base. But again, it wasn't a broken game. It was a game that fans didn't like, and they reacted much like Lucasfilm reacted to creative choices that the fan base didn't like. So then let's call them racist and sexist or whatever. This is a broken game. And again, this is where I go back to the discussion of scale matters. And the game of this scale that is being hyped and considered to be on the level of a GTA on multiple platforms across the board, when it's released on this scale and the backlash is this bad, I truly don't think that CDPR had another option. But Mark's point is right. They do offer that their refund policy is second to none, and they are responding in a way that we really haven't seen a developer respond in that sense. But they just, I don't know what else they could have done though.
Or like, I mean, let's all not forget like the famous, hey, Ryan Johnson, do you agree with any of the criticism of The Last Jedi? Nope, it's all bullshit. It's a perfect movie.
But like I said, but those are creative choices.
Yeah, I know, but like there is an element of like a lot of people though do just dig in when they make a mistake instead of accepting responsibility for the mistakes and saying, hey, we know we fucked up, we're gonna do what we can to make this better. It doesn't excuse the fuck up. Just like saying sorry if you punch someone doesn't excuse the fact that you punched them. But at least if you say sorry, maybe you can like become friends again after that, as opposed to if you're like, yeah, I punched you, what of it? Like.
Yeah, but again, that's different though. I mean, it's
I think like I've seen everything through this like different perspective, and they try to twist things, and they insist on being like, listen, last gen consoles, we didn't expect it to be this bad on last gen consoles. These are the fucking current gen consoles, motherfucker. And every statement they put out, they talk about last gen to try to get that in your mind that, well, you know, you're playing on bad hardware. You know, we just couldn't get it ready for last gen consoles.
I don't agree with that. Like, I think that there's a strong argument that they should have canceled those versions. But I think that if you release those versions saying that they're broken because you're not playing it in the backwards compatibility mode on the new consoles is kind of horseshit. Like that's
I see somebody that said in the chat, they're like, the chat is devolving into a PC versus console argument. Then as a gamer chat, then it's a gamer chat.
Gonna be on
no, the
PC
chat.
there.
They said the chat.
Okay.
They said the chat.
Sorry, I thought it meant
Look at Mark. Mark's ready to fire.
I was like, okay, at what point I have not even once said, hey, the game's fine, I'm playing it on PC.
No, the chat. But that's gamer talk right there. Like I said, that's how we should be arguing that shit. Go ahead, Lethal.
Is there sales numbers yet? Do we know like where it's been sold on the most yet?
So the pre-orders were 59% on PC with 41% console. The expectation is usually PC players tend to pre-order more. That's what their data has told them. So they expected to kind of come out to 50-50 through that opening weekend. But I haven't seen any actual numbers about it. Usually everyone's kind of, hey, by the way, this is the benchmark we met in the first weekend, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. After that, 8 million pre-orders, haven't heard anything. Now, a lot of that is likely because of all the refunds they're getting. They told their investors, when their investors said, hey, we'd like to see the numbers for refunds, they said, no, we're not going to show you those. We'll only tell you how many we sold, not how many were refunded. But again, CD Projekt, the executive thing. The CD Projekt executives today are liking tweets that are being critical of Sony for pulling the game from PlayStation.
Because they're cool and down with us. You know what I mean? They're one of the people.
I mean, granted, I don't want to necessarily call this person out, but a person who I think was at least in our chat earlier DM'd me on Twitter and said that her copy of the game was like. Oh, okay.
She super chatted it. She super chatted it. We'll get to
it. But what I mean is, she was having a fun time.
Mark's such a nice Canadian boy.
Well,
He's like,
I don't know if she wants because if people start messaging her about this, I don't want to be the person responsible.
They got a message her about a game being refunded.
No, well, like the problem was her copy was refunded like without consulting her at all, and it locked on her system.
Consent.
Yeah, she was playing the game. She actually finished the game once and was working on a second ending, and then her copy just locked on her PS4,
Jeez.
And now she can't launch it. So she's like,
"How fuck's that? Who wants to keep it, and I want to refund it, and I'm still waiting."
No. Well, I mean, I don't know. Then maybe Australian Sony is running things differently. But I mean, again, I don't have firsthand experience with this, but that's just what she told me, and I found that kind of mind blowing because I was like, wow, so they actually like locked, because I thought pulling it off the store would be kind of like PT, like the Silent Hills playable teaser that Kojima released that got pulled off the PlayStation Store, but it's still on my PS4 and I can still play it because I downloaded it and I just never deleted it. I just can't re-download it. So I thought when they pulled Cyberpunk off the store, it was just like that. Like if you downloaded it and you were playing it, you could still keep playing it and that'd be fine. But the fact that they must have had a patch or something come out that just locks up the game and makes it so that you can't launch it, that's a little fucked up.
That sounds like it's a mistake on their end, because what they came out and said, there was this release that they came out and said, listen, if you want to play it, you can continue to play it on PlayStation. Updates will continue to happen on PlayStation, even though it's not available for download. So that sounds like
it's still on my system.
Yeah, not firsthand experience, so I can't really I'm not going to argue with it as if it's a 100% absolute fact. It's just what I was told, and I was pretty surprised by that because that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about when all this shit started rolling down, Ripa, and you saw that people weren't allowed to use their own footage for these reviews? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was the first major red flag, because it was like an en masse. First of all, any kind of review embargo like that should be a red flag, to be fair. But when you're telling people to, hey, don't use your own footage, that should have been the red flag for everybody to say something is wrong with this game. And obviously they were referring to the bugs, because it is buggy, and this is why I still can't let them make it for putting out this product, because I've played the game, I think more than anybody, because I've clocked probably 150 hours to 200 hours almost on this game. I have to look at my Steam numbers. I'm doing every side quest, I'm doing everything because I want my review to be as thorough as possible. And yeah, that had to be the only reason that embargo existed, because I got my guy freaking T-posing randomly on top of cars and shit. It's buggy. It's really buggy. And that should have been the red flag for everybody in the more so gaming community to say that something's up with this game. But the interesting thing about the urinalists that were holding water for this game for a while there, it's kind of bizarre that they would mention it, even IGN mentioned it initially that it has bugs, but they kind of still tried to undermine it, and that's why they still gave it a 9 out of 10. But my thing is that when something is released like that, even on your definitely with the optimization, I think when you're gaming on PC, I think it's unique to console, and that you kind of have to put in your review the performance of it and the optimization portion of it. And to see people having all of these issues, even with higher end graphics cards, but the initial reviewers were not even talking about that. It didn't come. It was like it had to become socially acceptable first. Like IGN, for example, they really started railing against CD Projekt Red. Why we don't believe this? Why we don't believe that? And I'm like, well, y'all had all of this access to this game. Y'all didn't mention any of this until after the game came out. So it's a failure on their part, and this is why they're not journalists. I mean, it's the same thing we see in news as well, in that they kind of withhold that information, and then they navigate based on what the community does. And because the community had the reaction, IGN was like, okay, looks like it's socially acceptable to rail this damn game. So let's start saying that it had all these problems. Like, bro, y'all had all the access, so we know that you saw these problems. Why did you not bring it up? But for sure, that review embargo was should have been the red flag for everybody.
That's absolutely right. And I want to give Ryan credit too, because he caught hell from the CDPR fans for calling out this shit early on. And somebody mentioned it in the chat. RGT85 was another one I actually sent that video to Ryan. He got ratioed to hell and back.
Literally all he said, his title was
he wasn't even bad.
He was like, something is strange with Cyberpunk 2077. And he basically just laid out, listen, they're not allowing people to capture their footage. There's nothing out there on console. This just seems weird. He didn't go after them or anything. He got ratioed.
Well, CD Projekt Red fanboy is a cutthroat. Like when I did my video talking even about the microtransactions, it's just factual. It's like, okay, they said this, but they did this. And man, that was one of my worst viewed, most disliked videos, man. Those guys are cutthroat over those CD Projekt Red fanboys, man. You said anything negative about that game, and as I did over the past year, just being fair. This is not even necessarily going against it. It's just being fair, but they don't like that at all.
My review is going to go over well, where I talk about how I like the game, but it has tons of problems.
Just say it has tons of problems, but I like it. You just got to put the first one first before later I like it, click thumbs down.
It's the internet. Look at when I defended Zack Snyder when everybody said that Zack Snyder went full Ryan Johnson, and I'm like, no, he didn't. They're like, what the fuck, man? You're just forgiving Snyder because you're a fanboy. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I hate Snyder's DCU. He didn't go full Ryan Johnson. That's just part of the internet, though. The internet is going to believe whatever they want to believe. The context and the nuance is not there. So don't worry about it, Mark. That's just part of it. You're a cyborg. You don't have emotions anyway.
Then why do I cry, Jeremy? I know now why you cry.
You didn't cry about a Star Wars theory, so don't worry about it.
Oh my God, man. Like, come on, dude. Unless your mom's dying or some shit, come the fuck on.
I got a little teared up in one of the opening chapters of Yakuza Like a Dragon, though. There's a thing that happens in, like, I think chapter 2. It's pretty touching.
I cried last year during a Houston Rockets game. James Harden stepped on my foot. So,
oh yeah, this motherfucker weighs about 280 right now. Look at that. One of our best videos on Sports Wars in a while. Just me saying James Harden showed up looking fat as fuck.
Oh man. Now I have to ask Ripa and Lethal about Avengers and your experience with this game, because now I haven't played Avengers, but it's got a lot of problems, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how does it compare to Cyberpunk? And now, obviously, the Cyberpunk problems are there are a lot more of them, but I'm just saying from broken game to broken game standpoint,
right.
What is the comparison?
Well, with Avengers, it's like, it was buggy certainly initially when it came out, and they patched a lot of that stuff. The Avengers problem though is less about the technical issues and more about the content, and kind of the design problem, which I've been talking about for I don't know how long, and that it seems like directionless. And a lot of people over there were at not the Crystal Dynamics, they don't seem to have a direction. They have this 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Do you want it to be an action RPG? Do you not want it to be? And it makes for a bad design for an overall game and a content problem. And this is why it's a prime example. Avengers, a prime example of why you don't try to cater to the lowest common denominator when it comes to certain games. Like and that's a content problem. But when we talk about broken game to broken game, like my game, though it had problems when it first came out, it wasn't to this tier level where it was just completely shutting down my game. Like this was to the point to where with Cyberpunk, I was like, is this going to end up bricking my system? Like I know these are coding errors, but like what is going to happen if I keep playing this game? Is it going to explode? Like is my PlayStation 5 going to blow up? It was like that bad. Whereas to the other issues, and you have frame rate problems, certainly on the PS4 Pro, which is what I initially was playing that game on. PlayStation 5, though, it runs rather smooth. I don't get any of those frame rate problems at all. But the brokenness with Avengers, they're over that hump. Which again, CD Projekt Red was I would imagine at some point get Cyberpunk. I don't know if base console if that's even redeemable, but at least for the PC optimization and people that are playing it, like PS4 Pro or those like enhanced versions of the current generation, I think those maybe can get in step with that, much like Avengers did, at least from the technical aspect. But Avengers suffers way more from a content problem than what Cyberpunk is more technical. Whereas in my honest opinion, Avengers, where it lacks is just straight up, it's a content and a design issue, which I've done a million videos on, which the directionless and aspect of the game, like they didn't go really. They had a great concept. Hey, in the Marvel universe, let's have this kind of action RPG that has more of this sort of live response sort of combat system, which I was like, I was always on board with that, because I actually want to see more of that. I would have loved for a game as, let's say, as detailed, let's say as such as what's DC Universe Online, but had the game that the actual combat system of a Avengers. That's a perfect game for me.
That is, because I played DC Universe Online.
Yeah, like
I enjoyed the hell out of that
game. DC is sitting on it. I don't know why they won't. get Daybreak off. Daybreak could never make that game, but they are sitting on money to just take the concept that they have in terms of their world building and take what Avengers does really well, and that's the combat system, which is among some of the like Thor is believable, right? Thor plays like you'd imagine a Thor a solo game would play. It just has the content problem that it lacks. So they're sitting on a lot of money. But as far as the comparison with Cyberpunk's all technical, whereas the Avengers had technical issues, but a lot of their brokenness is in their design and just I don't know what crackheads they got working over there that's deciding the direction of the game. But man, they don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, I heard Adventures got better post beta. I only played the beta though, and I played it on PC where I had no technical issues at all. I thought it ran like perfectly, and I really didn't like it. I thought that the level design was dull. I wasn't really crazy about the combat. I actually do kind of agree with you on Thor. I thought Thor, Captain America, and Black Widow were okay, but I really didn't like playing as Hulk. I really didn't like playing as Kamala Khan. I thought that like it just kind of seemed on the button mashy side, and it seemed like I didn't think it seemed like a square peg round hole kind of game that like they wanted to make an open world or like a shared world kind of Destiny style beat 'em up game, but then they also had the Avengers license, so they have things like Hulk having to hit a guy 20 times that's like a level 1 enemy to kill him, and I don't know, it just really kind of pulled me out of it, so I didn't get into Avengers at all.
What about you, Lethal?
I agree with pretty much everything Ripper said. It's a content issue, that's the problem. But as far as it being directionless, I kind of feel there's almost too many cooks in the kitchen. You got some guy goes, "No, we got to do more of this," and other guys going, "We got to do more of that." So I don't think it's directionless. I think there's too many people arguing of which way to take it.
Yeah,
I agree with pretty much everything.
No, I agree with that. That's actually a better way to put it. Like it seems like you can see, like they have that aspect, the base aspect, which is what I enjoyed and what a lot of people who wanted to give the game a chance enjoyed, and that is you have a Marvel-based action RPG with this sort of live response combat system. That is a great idea. The problem is that it didn't commit to it. It's more of like, well, we're trying to have this Uber narrative, which is you kind of got to give and take with some of that sort of stuff. When it comes to building a good game, right? When it comes to building a game that is going to last, definitely in that model, which is it's a game that they're constantly building on, like you would expect with an MMO. But yeah, it seems like they have people pulling it in different directions. So it's the master of none is what ends up happening. And that it tries to do so many different things instead of doing one thing very well. And what I think they should have did was just commit to the action RPG aspect of it.
Agree with that.
And that should have been it. But not trying to go so far into, do we want to have this heavy narrative kind of thing and all of this sort of stuff? That's what did that game certainly in the door. In that, that's a better way to put it. That it's pulling it. People are pulling it in different directions, and so it's like I said, it's the master of none. It doesn't do anything really aside from the combat system. In my honest opinion, it doesn't do anything else really well because it's trying to do too much.
It's
Speaking
funny
of heavy narrative, can we just take a moment to appreciate how perfectly the last DLC set up the arrival of the flawless Captain Marvel to come and save the day?
Of course, the character that everybody wants to see.
Oh, mate.
That is the most protected character.
It's okay.
That game right there. That's gonna save.
You're gonna play as her, and every enemy's still gonna be a damage sponge anyway. So I don't think it's gonna matter in this case.
The most important thing that just happened is that Lethal gave me the opportunity to where when I clip this discussion, I can put Brie Larson in the thumbnail with red fucking eyes, and it's going to get a lot of views now.
The caption of the video is Captain Marvel comes to the Avengers game.
Yeah, it's a 30 seconds long. It's funny that you say like the kind of different directions and everything. When you think back to what happened with Anthem, those are a lot of the same reports. Like different people, like all these people that wanted to do different things with the game, and the devs were really pulled in different directions and never knew exactly what they were trying to do. Well, in this is way back in 2017. Somebody who was working for CD Projekt Red, when talking about should they work there. I've been working at CD Projekt Red full-time for less than a year. Pros, you'll meet nice and talented folks. You'll see them run away once they catch on with what's going on there. Cons, Almost everyone from a higher and middle management have clear game vision. Regrettably, those visions are contradictory. Since those visions are clear, no need to discuss them. CEO, only one willing to take responsibility and make tough decisions. He's also erratic and chaotic person with no interest in gaming.
That's interesting.
None of these noblemen are open to feedback, as anyone below their level is here merely to take their orders and not to criticize. At least you'll be listened to no effect. Design changes based on cloud patterns, dice roll, or what was on TV the night before. This company has over 400 workers, but it's still run as a rock band or castle. There are a few pals around whom everything is revolving. The rest are expendable. Crunch here is insane. We read about Bungie's crunch and Mass Effect Andromeda crunch and laughed. And crunch will hit current project hard because spreadsheet planning plus incompetent overseers equals hemorrhoids, bad back, and depression.
I'm now just thinking that the entire Aldecados quest line was because someone watched Sons of Anarchy. I was like, no, we need a biker gang in this. They're going to be nomads. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I love Sons of Anarchy so much.
Like all these things that a lot of people kind of shit. Well, that's not really. I'm sure it's just one disgruntled employee. CD Projekt Red knows what they're doing. Like those kind of things are coming back, and people are looking at it and be like, well, maybe that explains some of the problems. So let me get to a couple super chats, though, guys. You guys have been really patient. Geeky Pixie. For $5, I'm relieved Cyberpunk is taking the right steps by issuing refunds by their own pocket if needed. It doesn't erase their mistake by far. Yeah, agree. Out of their own pocket, I don't know which other way they would do refunds, but they did say we're going to take money out of our own pocket for refunds.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. I don't see EA doing that literally ever. Like they would have to be. I honestly can't even see any situation. I was going to make a hypothetical, but I don't think EA would ever do that no matter how broken a game is. They would flat out just not be like, we will pay for refunds out of pocket.
I agree with that. I mean, EA is terrible. But if that's the bar...
like Activision and Ubisoft, I think would probably... Like, I don't kid yourself. I don't think those two would really be any better when it comes to that stuff. Like... And it's again, I'm not saying that CD Projekt did nothing wrong or anything like that. I just think that a lot of the things they've been saying since all this happened, I don't think people are giving the credit for like at least how much they're at least like attempting to repair their reputation. Whether or not it's working is a different story, but like I don't think a lot of the moves they've made since all this went down we would be seeing from almost any other company. And I honestly can't even think of one that would also be doing that.
I don't know, man. Backlash is pretty strong.
Yeah, okay, but again, like name another company who, if they were getting an equal, 100% equivalent amount of backlash, you think would be doing the same thing.
Well, again, Battlefront 2, they had to change damn near everything. They gave that game a heart transplant.
I don't remember them ever saying that they would refund everyone that spent money on Battlefront 2
No, they didn't do that. They still had to change everything.
I don't know. I think if they said, okay, we're going to take the microtransactions out of the game, and also if you bought the microtransactions, here's all your money back, then that would be equivalent. But EA would never do that in a million years.
This is a good question. The issue is it a good game? A lot want to know that, not just is it buggy. After playing, I haven't played nearly as long as Mark or Ripa have. I've played probably about 25 hours now. I would say that I would say it's a really good game. When you're not having bugs and crashes and stuff. For me, the RPG elements of it, there's something that doesn't seem right about it. I don't feel like I have as many choices as I kind of thought I would, or the choices that I would make aren't necessarily as impactful as I thought they would. But maybe it's because I'm not deep enough in the game. I'm having a tough time feeling like my decisions like truly do matter as playing in first person as V. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I have not tried to play it much more. Like I said, on my PC, it wouldn't run very well. PS5 did much better experience on PS5. several hours into it on PS5, and I didn't have any real issues in terms of the bugs. From a game standpoint, these aren't typically my style of games, but I think if you're into this style of game, I think there's a really good game there once it's all fixed. And Mark's review, when is your review going to be estimated?
I've got 7 minutes of it edited, like video edited, done so far, and it's like 33, 34 minutes long, depending on if I trim down a few things here and there. Hardly. I'm hoping to have it done by Sunday night if I can, like maybe Monday or Tuesday though. It really just depends on if I run into issues.
And that's going to be a very in-depth review from the game standpoint, and obviously Mark will touch on a few of the controversial aspects as well.
Yeah, I really just kind of touch on those at the beginning and at the end, like not counting things like performance that I talk about in the middle, because I always have like a technical section. But
yeah, I played 135. I just looked at my numbers. 135 hours in.
Rip has got more time in than I do.
Yeah, I'm going to do a very thorough review, certainly on this. But look, I think it just depends, like, what's your anticipation. I can see where a lot of folks are going to, because it kind of was marketed as if it was going to be this really pacey kind of, and it's not like that. It is essence of an RPG in that regards, where it is a lot slower than I think a lot of people that I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but certainly it's something there. Like, it has a decent story. To me, it doesn't do anything. Like, I don't feel like, and I guess, I saw some other gamers, some ordinary game was talking about this as well. I thought that the true, like, how can I explain? Like, the groundbreaking thing was going to be groundbreaking with this game, but that doesn't mean it's bad, but it's not there, at least in mind. This game does not do anything that I haven't seen done out of Division or GTA in some aspects, or Far Cry. It has all these other elements of different games, which, Ghost of Tsushima had that as well, right? And so that doesn't mean that it's bad, but if you're getting this expecting it to be like, well, it did something that pushed the envelope, this ain't that game. But that doesn't mean it's bad. If you're into the story, and it does have, if you really want to get the essence of things that your decisions mattering, then you'll have to do kind of the side quest, which is an odd way that they set that game up. If you power through the main story, your decisions don't mean shit for the most part. It doesn't really mean anything unless you're doing the side quest and some of the side jobs and the gigs. Those ultimately end up impacting even some of your in-game stuff, which is a odd way to design the game. So it just depends on what your anticipation was. But at least for me, that's the letdown. That and like, it's not as lively as what I anticipated. I talk about this in my review as well, about the NPCs. Like, GTA 3 had better AI than this. Like, these AI got guys just sitting on the ground.
The NPC AI is terrible.
No reason. Like, it's very bad. But that doesn't mean that the game is bad. It does a lot of things solid. But yeah, it doesn't push the envelope and do anything like groundbreaking, where we're going to be talking about games adopting this going into the future, because they pushed the. I think still that true next gen experience, probably we're going to be waiting until Rockstar comes up with something, because Cyberpunk, for me at least, didn't do it. But the game is not bad.
I think that, like, I'm kind of like spoiling some of my review here, because this is actually a line from it. I agree with Ripa on there. I think that a good way to describe Cyberpunk is it's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Yep. In that there's nothing it does that's like really crazy amazing, but it takes a lot of elements from other games, like as he was mentioning, like Division or like Destiny style RPG looter shooter mechanics for the combat, and then like
Watch Dogs for the hacking.
It kind of, yeah, although the hacking I think is kind of more akin to like a magic spell in other games, or almost like the light abilities in Destiny in a way. Like they just kind of, they do things to the enemies that are a little bit more different. But I think the real benefit to it is, or the real strength is the same thing that was the strength in Witcher 3. It's just the high standard of writing across the board. And that's not to say that like the main story is like mind blowing and it'll make you question everything about your humanity, kind of like Yang Ya was saying it was, which I didn't really agree with at all. I just think it's a solid, it's a pretty solid sci-fi story, but it's the standard of everything that's written around it that's quite high across the board. Similar to Witcher 3, how you would even just be doing little one-off side quests that you'd talk to a person person on the road and then go down and do a little thing, but there was actually a story to the characters and they had a reason for asking you to do the thing, and you felt like, oh yeah, I actually want to help this person, as opposed to, okay, I can score some experience points by doing this thing, which is, I think, in the Assassin's Creed games that are comparable to Witcher, like Odyssey and Origins. I haven't played Valhalla. They kind of just do the, oh, like, can you go to this well and get me a jug of water? My plants need to get watered. And it's like, well, I need a level up to do the next story quest, so I guess I'll go do that. And so I think though that saying, is Cyberpunk a good game, it's a tough thing to answer, because there's a lot to it, and I think if all the problems were 100% sorted out, I think it would be an incredible game. I don't think it would be perfect. I think there's design decisions that would make it impossible for this to be like the be all end all, like Uber game, like ultimate open world experience RPG where your choices mean the world and you can do anything. It's much more just a solid open world game that does a lot of things about on par with other games, but it has the benefit of being like quite well written across the board. And I think that actually makes up for a lot. The last thing I want to say, I know I've been talking for a little while, is about the structure that Ripper was also mentioning about how the side quests affect things like your end game choices. My theory is that the reason they did that is because they got a lot of data saying that people didn't finish the main story of Witcher 3. So that side content, the side jobs, I'm willing to bet at a certain point we're just in the main story. But they're like, man, if we make people play 45 hours of this quest, like a bunch of them are going to fall off at hour 20 and then they'll never be able to find out how the story ends. So they decide, okay, let's just have the main jobs be the absolute bare essentials of this story that you can just blow through if you want to. But then also if you want to get to know Panem and River Ward and all like the other side characters that do not, everybody, if you are playing Cyberpunk, don't skip that stuff. It's really good. It's like, I would almost argue it's the best content in the game. It's probably better than the main story overall. Not as many flashy moments, but there's things there that you absolutely don't want to skip. So again, like a really long-winded answer, but I think the structure might have been a bit of a reaction to people falling off of Witcher.
I have a quick answer, unlike Mark. If you want to know if this is a good game, I will just say it gave us this moment right here. So
if you play Angry Joe right now, I'm going to be so upset.
Yeah, Ricky.
Oh, okay, Ricky. Ricky's cool.
Incredible.
This is fun.
There's cripples in this game? Oh, my fellow cripple. Nice chair. Dan! Hey!
The cripple's a maelstrom, too.
That's my people! Beat the crap out of you!
Dude, I love Ricky. Ricky's amazing.
But I want to piggyback just on that, just for the context, because I didn't mention it, and Mark did, which was the content and how the side quests really are like their own stories. This is what this game does. If there is one thing that you can say that it may do better than other games, is that it actually put thought into and depth to like the things that you do that are not pertaining to the actual main story. And this is why I can't wait to see, and I know because I play a lot of competitive games and I'm always into the online scene. This is actually why I'm really stoked to see what they're going to be able to do with Cyberpunk Online, because a lot of MMOs it's busy work when you go do a side quest for the most part. And this is why a lot of people like the GTA Online, where you had the heists and stuff like that. I'm interested to see in that sort of arena what they're going to do, because this game is not short of content. Like, you don't go just do it when you go do a side quest. It's not necessarily doing the same exact thing, which is this is something where Avengers could actually take some help, use that sort of help, and that they actually have a level of detail with the actual side missions and the relationships in that regards that you build with the other characters, which actually matter. So they do a great job. That's one of the things that I would say, if not, that's probably will be top of my list on what it does very well. And that the things that you do on the side that are actually like missions are like actual detailed missions that have their own branches of stories, and what have you, instead of just being, like you said, with some other with definitely RPGs, it's simple as, hey, I got rats, go kill a rat infestation, go kill all these rats. And like, that's not really what this game is. It has a true level of detail with the side quest.
If you have to go kill rats, there would be like a 15-minute cinematic where they're telling you about how terrible it is that rats have infested their home because they like didn't keep it clean enough, because one of their family members was sick.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's get back to these. Kristen Nova for Canadian $7 says beep and then does the mark face, the eye lip eye. So thank you guys for that.
I like how X-Ray Girl did that during the
Yeah.
girls
Well, she like the eyes that she put on her sunglasses were supposed to be those eyes. And what's crazy is I've got like a pretty big nose too. Like my lips aren't nearly that close to my eyes.
I love how Mark's breaking down the meme now.
He's like, yeah, the dimensions of that's really off. I don't understand. Hold on. Orange Hat reviews for $2. Performance issues, not uncommon. 1 in 5. That's what they say. I don't know if there's a pill that Cyberpunk can take. Unfortunately, Diego Flores for, is this Peruvian maybe? 32.90. I think perception-wise, Nintendo has more credibility and reliability on quality of product. That is why even if Nintendo goes aggressive, not many really rage. Then like I see a lot of similarities between like the Nintendo fan base and the CDPR, like very hardcore fan base, honestly, just like the rabid defensiveness and stuff. That happens, like Jeremy said, that happens when you give people something they really love. Like you earn that kind of loyalty. But yeah, the problem is.
What are you gonna say, Mark?
Are you doing this to me again? I didn't have anything to say.
Yeah, because I was about to pull that clip up. So, hang on, I got it pulled up. This
time I wasn't nearly as thrown off because I knew I actually wasn't saying anything. I was just reading the chat.
Here it is.
What are you gonna say, Mark?
Wait. I wasn't saying anything. I was honestly legit confused there because I was like, did I start saying something and then just totally space out? And then I was trying to remember it for a second, and then I was like, I really don't think I actually said anything. Because Ryan was just responding to I typed something in the private chat.
Yeah, that's that technology. Like that he's got that machine learning, like, you know, he remembered now. He's like, no, you're not gonna get me. I've been trained.
That's right. You got the updates.
I'm like Taskmaster.
That's hotfix 1.05.
No, but to address the thing, yes, Nintendo fans. I love Nintendo. But like Brie Larson, Nintendo is my favorite video game ever. Just like Brie Larson, I love Nintendo. But Nintendo fans and CDPR fans, I think there's a big similarity in that they really are. There is some, but at the same time, Nintendo fans will criticize Nintendo in a minute as well. They'll fucking lose their mind. They don't get the Smash character they want or whatever. They'll lose their minds. I don't think we've seen that with CDPR yet, but again, it is different too. Completely different companies and how they are developing their products. But the response and the defensive nature of these fan bases are very similar.
Yeah. Fat Steven Seagal for Canadian $2. Merry Christmas, GNG crew. Can I refund a super chat? You'll have to send an email to helpmerefund@geeksandgamers.com. So we'll get back to you before the end of the year. We promise. Videodrome 80 for $5. They could put a great version on the Switch since they started their cloud gaming service with Control and Hitman.
Let's get Cyberpunk for the Switch. I'm sure.
I did hear a lot of people saying it's actually hilarious that Control runs better on Switch than it does on PS4. That was another one, actually. Control was broken as hell. No one seems to really talk about that much anymore.
I'm shocked that, and again, I haven't played it, but based on what you've told me, that Witcher 3 runs good on Switch. I'm actually shocked that it runs
good. I don't know if
it runs better than you'd think it would.
Right. The fact that it runs at all.
Well, again, this is like, I'll slip into PC elitism a bit, but I don't think Witcher 3 runs well on PS4. So, I'm definitely not going to tell you I think the Switch version is the one you should be playing. Though I think that it's functional from what I've seen of it. Actually, I don't have it. And what I think is a benefit to, and a reason to actually own the Switch version is it's got crossplay with the PC version. So if you want to just work on side quests on the Switch, if you're like on the bus, that's an option. And I think that's pretty cool. And honestly, if more games did that, I would be buying a lot more like half-working Switch ports. So I could... Well, of any like game that's like that you can grind stuff out in, like I would just try to level up my character doing things on the side while I'm
Make you guys ride like the government bus in Canada or something. I mean, on the bus.
Okay, like I mean, theoretically, if you're on a bus, I don't often take the bus because I live in the country.
People that are riding the bus that have like high end fucking.
No, I grew up in Toronto. Okay, I've spent a lot of time on public transit. It's impossible to drive in that city. I don't know how X-Ray Girl does it.
I'm just happy, Mark.
With all the disabilities she has to overcome while driving in general, the fact that she can drive there is impressive.
Don't finish that joke.
I'm just happy Ryan has not gone pixelated. Last time Ripa was on a stream with Ryan, we got the amazing pixelated Ryan.
That's true. So somebody oh fuck, Lethal's right on top of it.
She heard the beginning of your joke.
Like no shit. Somebody tagged me on Twitter yesterday and said that they were getting an ad on Facebook for my Teespring pixelated Ryan shirt, which is like just fucking phenomenal. That's happening. Video.
And they say targeted ads is a bad thing.
Yeah. Videodrome. Or no, I already read that one. Amma Carrera for $5. I bought it for PC. It's been fine so far. Mostly humorous glitches like T-posing NPCs. Lol. Yeah, and like there a lot on the PC. I would say that most of them are not. I don't think there's anything on PC that's truly game breaking. There's a bunch of immersion breaking stuff.
Yeah, that's fair
for sure. But like, there's nothing that's game breaking. Like what we're seeing on PlayStation.
I was saying that I was having some crashes the first night, like on launch night. I was crashing in the where you're in the Maelstrom, like the All Foods warehouse. Every time I would die,
got so bad there.
Well, no, my frame rate was fine, but every time I would die, I would reload my save and then the game would crash. It wouldn't crash my whole computer, but I'd have to close the game, like hard close the game, do the bug report, and then reboot it. But that was and that happened that entire section. So I essentially had to eventually just get through it without dying. And I did eventually, but it was frustrating me quite a bit. But it has not happened at all since that night. So maybe they patched it and fixed it. There was a patch on the second day, so maybe that worked that out. But to be fair, I haven't doubled back on. I played that again on the Xbox, but I haven't gone through that section a second time on PC. So maybe I'll try that out. But
yeah, it's a different game on PC and console. Like as far as the experiences people are having.
Absolutely.
So. The CJH, speaking of, that's who tagged me about the post. For Canadian $5 doesn't say anything, but thank you. Geeky Pixie for $5. Sony automatically refunded my Cyberpunk without authorization, and I want to continue to play. I'm annoyed it's locked, and I don't own it anymore.
And she actually likes the game a lot. The fact that's fucked up.
Yeah, she's actually doing better than a bunch of the Geeks and Gamers team was submitting me stuff for my the Automatic Love quest video that I wanted to make. I have Geeky Pixies footage. And Ryan's the good one.
Bug in it because on my way to do the quest, I did a chance encounter and it just didn't show my health. My health.
So you have no health through all the footage. I haven't watched yours yet.
Well, I had to reload it. It's like the first 5 minutes if you watch it.
Okay.
But yeah. Mephisto Zarxes for £1 doesn't say anything. Then again for £5 says there is a syndicate-style cyberpunk alternative game on Steam called Conglomerate 451, a dungeon crawler. It's really good. Please check it out.
Oh, neat.
Well, there you go. A syndicate-style cyberpunk called Conglomerate 451. And that's his first time sending the super chat, so thank you very much. Mephisto, we appreciate it.
Syndicate was like a top-down strategy game, and then they remade it as a first-person shooter in the PS3 360 generation. But actually, the funny thing is about that version, the thing I remember the most was the Skrillex song that came out with it. It was actually really solid.
Geeky Pixie for $5. I beat Cyberpunk. Didn't have many game-breaking issues other than crashing every so often. Other than those, it was an enjoyable experience for me. There you go. Thank you, Geeky.
And then they took it from her.
Yeah, took it from her. You've had your fun. Time to equal it out. Boom.
That's crazy.
Gay Jeremy for $5. Again, the gay is redundant. I don't know why you keep having that for your name. I know I'm all nut for Ryan. Just look at his shirt. It's a perfect example of what we do together. But Mark is such a daddy. I need some of that.
Oh, thanks.
At that moment, Ripa was like, "Why the fuck did I hop?"
Dreary
X-ray girl
nitpicker.
like that one.
Dreary nitpicker for $10. I told everyone not to get excited for Cyberpunk. Star Citizen is going to save us all.
That was pretty good.
What the fuck are you looking at, Mark? I feel like Ray Charles is looking at me when you talk.
What? I don't.
I look at you like a blind man might.
I think sometimes you look at your screen instead of like the camera. So
Well, I've got like you guys
you
on
don't
this
look
screen,
at-
and I've got the chat on that screen. So
Yeah.
and the camera's in the middle. I'm
Why?
never looking
Because
directly
I'm-
at the camera unless I like
I'm
intentionally.
always looking up because I have the chat on this screen above me. So
yeah, I only look at the camera when I rant. Geeky Pixie for $2. My overall score for Cyberpunk is a solid 8.5 out of 10. I think that if you don't have any issues with it, I think like 8.5 ish is like kind of where I would put it, honestly. If you don't have any of the fucking breaking shit. The CJH for Canadian $2. Doom Eternal should have got Game of the Year.
Yes.
it's a great game.
I'm all about Ghost of Tsushima.
Well,
but-
that was a curveball with speaking of like mainstream gaming outlets. GameSpot gave it to Half-Life Alyx, and I was like, I agree with GameSpot. I'm like out. It's like Half-Life Alyx and Doom Eternal to me are the ones that are like neck and neck. I can't really decide which one I like more, just because Half-Life Alyx is so different. But I was
It's a
surprised
very
they didn't
different
give it to
game.
Last of Us because it seemed like it was being pretty clear that every mainstream outlet was just like, oh, it's obviously The Last of Us. Why would it be anything else? So I can think of a few reasons.
Somebody
Even
gave
Polygon gave it to Hades.
Somebody gave it to Ghost of Tsushima. Let's see, cheap ass gamer. Cheap ass gamer gave it to Ghost of Tsushima.
I think it would be really funny if they won the Game Award. Last of Us won the Game Award, but like none of the mainstream outlets picked it. It was like just a split vote.
Roger Haynes for Canadian $5. Got any Neo Geo games to recommend?
All the Metal Slug games. good stuff.
That is the one of the few systems. I mean, I even just bought a TurboGrafx 16, but I have never owned a Neo Geo ever.
You can
That was
get most of the Neo Geo games on pretty much anything else, though. In fact, I think most of them are on Switch. Like, I have Mark of the Wolves on Switch.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them that are on Switch for sure. I like to own retro consoles, and Neo Geo is one of the few that I have never ever.
Neo
had.
Geo was like $700 in like 1992.
Oh yeah,
and,
no,
like,
back
every
in the
game
yeah.
was like $200.
I remember. I mean, there were like legendary stories at school of like a kid that might have owned a Neo Geo. You know, that's how rare they were. They're like, man, there's a rumor there's a kid. You know, his dad's like governor. He's got a Neo Geo.
Yes, a
That's
Neo
about the
Geo.
only way
Well,
you'd be able to.
Like, the reason with like the Neo Geo console was essentially just their arcade hardware, but like a home form of it. So like that's why it was so expensive, because it was basically the exact hardware and the exact chips that they were running in the arcades.
Yeah.
Her in the Steadfast for Canadian $5. So
Oh, did you see that? Ripa?
I love that video.
Did you
man.
see that of Grace Randolph? Find it and
somebody
do
did
a screen share.
somebody did a compilation of about maybe a week's worth of Grace Randolph.
You
think so?
You get ready to want to just end it all. As you watch this, so
What's
I know
your flights to
Lethal-
Greenland?
Lethal shared it with me at one point and said it was fat material. So I know he's got it.
Yeah, but
I've
Lethal-
got, like, to be totally fair, I've got a bit of a thing for Grace Randolph. Like, I really want to fuck her.
Why is it funnier that you have the Shinji avatar like with the teacup?
Did you find it, Lethal?
It's 7 in the morning. Oh, you want me to share it? Okay, that's
Yeah,
risky.
or whoever has access
you
to
have
it.
it. I don't know. I don't have it on hand. I didn't
Did
want to
you-
bless my timeline with it.
Type in Grace Randolph.
It's really bad. Did you share it,
probably-
Lethal?
I'll get
I'm
it.
sure he did. Samurai Vader for $5. Funny seeing the effort put into features and QOL in the Wii to sell, but it failed. But put no effort in Switch and it's selling like crazy.
Yeah, well, say that they put any effort into it, but it's the marketing. I mean, marketing is important. It's easy to just dismiss Nintendo and say people are going to buy Nintendo because it's Nintendo, and that is true to an extent. But the Wii U is proof that they're not invincible, and their arrogance really got in the way, and that's why the Wii U was the biggest failure of any console that we can remember on that level. Yes, there's been bigger failures, but when you're talking about Nintendo should be operating on a different level, that is a massive failure due to expectation and who they are. So the Switch has got great marketing, and they've done a much better job of conveying their message. I think a lot of people that bought the Wii were not gamers. I think obviously I don't think that could be disputed. The Wii was marketed to mass appeal to people that really didn't play games, and they flooded the market with shitty gimmicky games that didn't have any relevance in 2 days after you purchased it,
and that you couldn't return.
So. and then it just, the Wii was, I think, is a terrible system, but the Wii U I think was a good system. Just didn't get the marketing. But the Switch has everything. It has everything it needs: marketing, accessibility, widespread appeal, and caters to the hardcore audience. It covers all bases.
Yep.
I got it.
All right, I'm ready. Hold on.
Rip is leaving after this.
Oh baby, here we go.
Oh my god.
No.
Like she's doing like the people's eyebrow, like. That's impressive.
God, dude.
Okay, end it now.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
What do you think her orgasms sound like? That's like
Probably exactly like that.
God willingly, I'll tell you.
I like Grace Randolph. I do. I don't watch her that much, but I like Grace Randolph. Hey, she had Zack Snyder on, so Lethal and Ryan respect her. So
I respect the fact she had Zack Snyder on. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like Grace. Like a lot of scoopers, she's got a lot of shit right and a lot of shit wrong. That's how the fucking scooping game works.
That's true.
And that's why I'd never want to be a part of that shit. I just want to comment on what's actually going on. And never be like, you said this would happen and it didn't. Well, fuck me. I don't want to be part of that. Biggles Mets for $5. Jeremy looks confused when Mark talks. He even picked his ear.
Well, at least it wasn't my nose. So.
Sandman says runner for a Canadian $5. Hail gang, I'm in a weird position. I still own and love original games and movies while hating the actions of actors and parent companies. That's not really a weird position. That's the position I think the vast majority of people are in.
Yeah, again, I think I know Ripa can back me up on this, but I mean, the heavy majority of people in Hollywood hate you. You like a lot of the movies that they're in. They hate your guts. The people behind it, the people that are involved in the creative process and the starring in it, they hate us. They hate our guts.
Very true.
And as long as their politics don't interfere with the story, that is really all that we can worry about. And that's all I care about. But once their politics enter the story, then it opens you up to then criticizing all of these other things about them.
Yeah. That's it. Miss Martin Muses with a rose. Thank you for the super sticker, Teresa. Chris Arcella for $2. Hey, all, some support. Thank you, Chris. Big supporter of so many people out there. Gunnar Rene Oli for Norwegian kronas, 50 of them. Pressure from Tencent and other commercial pressure from China sounds like the only explanation. I think Mark is right. And then for another 20 says, Ripa, turn off chromatic aberration and grain. I think he's done all that fooling around with the settings.
Oh, I've done literally everything.
Yeah,
dude. Like, and I'm a hardware guy. Like, 'cause this is my fucking profession. Because trust me. There ain't nothing that I ain't done. That damn game just it's not properly optimized. I did it on 2 different CPUs and still I'm struggling. Like, and it's not just me. That's not like a me thing. Like, you got guys with 3070s, 3080s, 3090s that are under high resolutions are really struggling to get 60 frames. More specifically when like you get to more densely populated areas, like you kind of have to have the game on potato settings to
Jig Street, I find, is the biggest problem. I can't hit 60 frames a second on Jig Street, seemingly no matter what I do, even if I drop it down to like low settings, and I have a 3090. So
yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you. Yeah, that is like, it's choppy there, man.
Well,
Yeah.
now I'm surprised. I'm not. I shouldn't be surprised as much as it is kind of crazy. Ripa has more hours into this game than Mark, and Mark has been on.
I had to stop playing a few days ago to write my review. I redrafted that thing 3 times, and it's 7,200 words.
So,
Well, to
Ripa,
be
you got
fair,
130.
It's taken Ripple longer to get through because his game crashes every fucking 5 minutes.
Okay, that's probably true.
I just wanted to. It's kind of like what I did with Avengers, right? Where like I waited and then like I played the living shit out of it, and then I did my review. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to kind of, as I'm doing more reviews going into the future, I just want to make sure they're as detailed as I possibly can make them. And I just don't think some people can, but me, I have to like play the shit out of it to really like be able to write, because you pre-write your reviews, I imagine, as well, Mark. And in order for me to just pump that thing out, like I have to fucking like I gotta play the shit out of that game, otherwise I bullshit it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm confident in calling my playthrough thorough. Like it was 45 hours in before I got to like the first ending, and then since then I've gone back and like seen the alternate endings, or at least a couple of them. I obviously didn't clear every single gig. I didn't buy all the possible cyberware. I didn't get every car, but I got through all of the major side jobs and obviously the main quest. The only side job that I think was pretty significant that I stopped was the street boxing one, because I think that quest might actually be broken. It was something about the characters that you're fighting have like magnetic attacks, so they can like start at one end of the ring and then just start up their strong attack. And if you're out of stamina, you can't block or parry. So you have to kind of back up into a corner, and then they just fly to you like they're playing Arkham Asylum or something. And you can't really do anything with that. And there was this one opponent that just was moderate challenge in the recommended level. So I should have been able to beat him, and he would kill me in 2 hits. So I was just like, okay, at a certain point, I've got to not spend 30 hours on this quest.
And that's what happened to me, though, to be fair. Like, some of that is the Wild Minds is taking while I'm playing. So I'm playing on very hard as well. So, yeah, on some side quest, like, I've spent fucking 45 minutes just fucking, like, trying to clear out this base, and I'm getting one shot by fucking turrets from across the map. So yeah, like that's kind of what I'm dealing with as well.
Yeah, very hard I didn't fiddle with. I just played through all on hard, but there's definitely enemies that can one shot you.
Yeah.
As to that first super chat about the whole GOG China thing, yeah, it was pressure from China, because someone did an advanced Twitter search in the 4 or 5 hours between the time that it was announced that it was coming to GOG and the time that GOG announced that they're cucking to China, even though they put out, we've heard a lot from gamers about the feedback. No, they couldn't find anyone that was complaining. Not fucking anybody that was bitching to them about that on Twitter.
I found one. Give me a sec.
You did? Oh, well, no, I have it, Lethal. You tweeted it out. I got it. This is the only one that anyone found. This was the only one.
That's so childish, man.
There was one more. There was another one.
Let's see it then. I thought I had it because I saw Lethal tweet that out. I'm waiting. Bated breath. But yeah, it's embarrassing, the fact that they try to say gamer. They start out so many other things with fellow gamers.
Yeah, I think they just do that with every PR statement. I don't think they realize that there's a good section of the gaming community who finds the term gamers being used that way to be a little on the cringy side. But
yeah, I mean, no, they do it to try to add credibility to their nonsensical statement. They're trying to. I mean, it's something that we see in the media all the time. Ripa knows this, better than any of us. But they try to qualify it by giving credibility to the exact crowd that they're trying to take credibility from.
Oh yeah, that advanced Twitter search must be in this one. There it is. Z. I'm a big gamer.
Red Candle's only chance is probably itch.io, itch.io, which is like sort of, you could probably call them like a Wild West gaming storefront. They don't really turn down almost any game from what I can tell, and they're pretty adamant about not bending to what anyone ever says as far as like you should not sell this game goes. I think that their website is sort of a mess and they don't really have a client, but they're a pretty good site as far as like freedom of speech goes. So Red Candle, if any of you guys are watching our show, I'd recommend going to itch.io.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows there's no chance they're releasing on consoles. Like, there's no way that Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo is going to be like, yeah, bring your game that the Chinese government is rallying against to our platform. Like, that's likely not going to happen. So it's either independent PC release or another company like Itch.
Bald Ryan for $5. My camera's dad can beat up your camera's dad. Back to Mark.
That's probably what we're talking about. Cameras.
Yeah. And by the way, Ripa, if you need to bounce anything at any point, man, like you just,
No, it's all good, man. I'm editing a video right now.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ty Timmons, $10. I hope this PR disaster is a wake-up call to all companies planning on releasing their games too early. I'm sick of this. Just release it now. We'll fix it later attitude. I'm sick of the deception. I think that everyone is. This may be like big enough to really change, because I think, like myself, I don't really pre-order almost anything. I pre-ordered this because I had faith that this game was going to be good. I knew it wasn't going to live up to the hype, but I thought, listen, there's a lot of shit, but I still think back in January, I thought that I think this game will be good enough to be worthy of my pre-order. I think this might be the thing that maybe snaps everybody into reality and they stop. But no one's ever going to stop, because always be, hey, Ubisoft, that we're offering an additional mission for this year's release of Assassin's Creed if you pre-order. And people are like, oh, well, I'm probably going to buy it anyway. Might as well. So Brando for $5. What were the employees doing this entire time at CDPR? Do they not work 8-hour days in Poland? Well, they do. And in fact, they work 6 8-hour days for Cyberpunk. But like the scope of what they were trying to do with this game is massive. Like, imagine this game, but with wall running. Like, that's a
that was supposed to be a thing. I actually talk about that in my review a few times. Because funny enough, I think actually the mobility in this game, like the on-foot mobility, way better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I think it's easily on par with the newer Far Cry games. And so many games mess up things like ledge mounting, pushing it, grabbing a ledge and pulling yourself up. This game, it actually works pretty well.
Good, actually,
and the double jumping is very solid. So I was like, man, like I kind of wish they left the wall running in. There's not a lot of geometry or geography, like level geography that I think you could really do it very often in. But I think it might have been pretty cool in the situations where you could use it. But also, Jeremy would probably go easier on the game because it would be more like Titanfall 2.
Damn right.
Yeah, probably.
Give me that's the way. Look, just Nintendo and Titanfall 2. It's all you got to do. Just remind me of one of those. You win me over.
Moving around on foot's a lot better than moving around in a car in this game, though. I'll say that.
Oh man, that's one of the things I dock it for. Is that it's not. Of course, it's not like Need for fucking Speed, but man, they're driving slippery, man.
I'll tell you, one of the biggest problems though is the minimap. The minimap is zoomed in too tight, so you don't see your turn until like it's past the point that you need to start slowing down because of how heavy the car is.
5 miles and just zoom right past your fucking turn.
Yeah. There's a handbrake in this, right?
And the handbrake doesn't work right.
Does it? Okay, I cannot fucking do it. I cannot fucking like take a turn. I have to slow down like a dumb fuck. Like slow down and then turn. It's terrible.
Like the handling, it's not as crazy slippery if you're comparing it to something like Forza Motorsport or something, because like in those games you really, really have to slow down going into tight turns. So I think they went for a more kind of realistic driving model that way. The thing is, with that mini-map and the fact that the handbrake turning is not very forgiving, it doesn't work for the kind of game that you're making. So if you're comparing it to something like Grand Theft Auto, just the driving in Grand Theft Auto smokes Cyberpunk. Yeah. Like, it's not even close.
The motorcycle, somebody said it too, the motorcycle, when you hold like backwards, you can get a handbrake effect on the turn. So I've just started using Jackie's motorcycle for almost everything.
I much prefer using a motorcycle, and the Kusanagi is the one to get. It's like the Akira bike.
Speaking of driving mechanics, we do have a clip we can show about driving mechanics in a video game. Mark.
Oh my god. This truck has the opposite handling that the Cyberpunk trucks do, or like cars.
Don't worry about the truck. Don't.
Sorry, I didn't think that truck could stop on a dime. I thought it was.
Don't go near the truck. Don't worry about the truck. Michael's the truck home, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, it turns around. Tries to slide into it. Set up.
Okay.
Set up.
Want me to tell you what I was hoping would happen?
No, I don't want to hear it.
Ripple, basically what I was trying to do was whip around and then play chicken with the giant truck that was chasing us because I'd just gone into the aqueduct. So knowing that they shouldn't be able to stop in time and would have launched into the aqueduct, which would have given me time to get out and get away because I was half dead. I don't know if you saw my health bar there. But the truck just stopped on a dime right before it launched into the aqueduct. And then everyone that was riding in the flatbed threw C4 at us and blew us up.
I was trying so hard to find that clip of Ryan and Uche where Uche does nothing but talk shit, just runs his fucking mouth nonstop. And then like they're playing Warzone and I get what was it where he thought it was a ramp or something.
Hey, we were playing like fucking duos or something, and he's fucking driving the car around and just drives straight into a fucking wall. Like, and I'm like, and he's like, silence, and he's like, not gonna lie, I thought it was a ramp.
At least he didn't double down.
He couldn't be good when Uche can't bullshit his way out of something. Just like the other day we were talking, he said something. He was saying some weird shit.
He was just trying to argue with us, and so he like starts saying something, and he stops. He's like, I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Oh shit. Oh man!
And as you could clearly see from the clip, Ripper, it wasn't like there was a whole bunch of us saying "Don't go near the truck" before anything happened.
But again, I didn't make the decision to turn around and go play chicken with it until I'd been getting shot to the point that I was going to die. Like if I was continuing to go straight. Yeah, I know, but the truck was going to kill me. With their guns, they have guns too. Like that's the important
factor.
Play
Call of Duty? Do you play Call of Duty?
I recently am getting in Warzone because everybody on this team telling me like, you gotta get it as a player. So yeah, I'm starting to get in Warzone. I haven't got like Cold War or anything like that. But.
Okay. Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Cold War multiplayer, and a lot of people don't like it. I love Cold War. I mean,
it's a mixed bag. It's kind of weird. A lot of people, I've not found really anybody in between. Like some people like really, really, really like it, or they fucking like.
It's pretty, yeah.
I'm pretty in between it. Listen, it's not a good game, but it's fun. Like because I feel like the level design is they made it so that it's very fast paced. So you don't, at least not until the recent update, you didn't have so many issues with campers and everything. Everything just kind of funnels you in to have gunfights with people, and that's what I want. I can't stand fucking just trying to do my thing and some little fucker, in some random corner, just picking people off like a bitch. I hate that stuff.
The thing that I like more, and I think Modern Warfare 2019 is a better game. Hit detection's better, graphics are better, maps are more detailed, but it comes down to maps are less campy on Cold War, which makes the experience so much better.
That's a big deal, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it makes the experience so much better. But yeah, you can hop on with us anytime you want, man.
I'm down, man.
DK Dragon Fang for $5. If you purchase something, you have every right to expect it to work properly. You are owed a functional product for your money. Period.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Fluffy Panda, $5. I'll admit it. It's playable on my Xbox One S. Yes, it crashes sometimes. It rarely bugs, but I love the story. COVID excuse sucks. Everyone can enjoy it. Rushed. Considering they delayed it. Like it was supposed to come out in April and they delayed it before the pandemic was really, Mark, you're muted, just so you know, they delayed it before that was really a factor. I don't think.
Well, no. They delayed it as COVID was like kind of heating up. And that was also around the time that they were converting to a work from home setup. So I think that the April delay, assuming that the game was in a state. Yeah. I mean, like it's crazy to think now, but like, even if they were planning to hit that release date pre-COVID, I think that if they were like, okay, if our post-launch patching team is now going to have to figure out how to be doing this from home when we haven't spent even a single day doing work from home, then that I think could have been probably a much worse. In fact, almost definitely much worse if they pushed it in April. But I'm still firm on that. I've been saying this entire time. I think it was September. The September delay to November is the one that never should have happened. When they knew that they weren't going to hit September, they should have said, "Sorry, we haven't figured out our workflow properly doing the work from home. It's going to take us more time to get this game ready. We're not going to announce a release date right now. The game will come out sometime in 2021. You can cancel your pre-order if you like." And then they should have just disappeared.
Well, yeah, I mean, COVID gives you the best out. I mean, at the end of the day, COVID is, hey, COVID has created a lot of problems, and I think that makes it even more forgivable, all things considered, for them to do it. But we are where we are. This happened, and it's hopefully they can learn for future projects, and other companies can as well.
Yeah. It's always tough to estimate, when you can get this game out when your plan all along is to fix it after release. So, you understand it had to be tough scheduling for CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, that's why I honestly think that the idea of launching a AAA game and specifically stating it as early access is a trend that, as much as in a perfect world, it's easy to be like, oh, games should be finished before they come out. Sure. But let's understand that we're in a world where a lot of shareholders and executives on boards are saying, no, this game needs to come out because we need this to be in our fiscal year to hit our projections. So let's say the games have to come out. I think releasing them in early access states, advertising that clearly, and saying, okay, we're probably going to get this game to 1.0 sometime this year. We know some people are really excited to play it. You can pre-order the game now and start playing and help us turn this game into the game that it should be by giving us feedback. You're essentially giving a way to have playtesters pay you in order to do it, but you're being honest about the entire process. But I mean, even then, some people really don't like that too, because on my Baldur's Gate early access review, a lot of people were saying oh, so they're making you pay to beta test. I'm like, kind of, yeah, but you also get the game for free when it launches if you buy into the early access, and they're honest about it. They are telling you that that's what's going on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that more games should start doing that, because it seems like games just launch unfinished anyways without that qualifier.
I don't think that's terrible. I mean, I would rather them just get it right, but I don't think that what Mark's saying is a bad idea when you're dealing with something like this.
Yeah, and I think that if they would have done that, I think at that point they still would have had so much goodwill that people would probably been like, fine, we trust you to get it right.
That's true.
Based on the reaction we've seen even now, I think there would be blowback. There would be, just like there's blowback when you delay it. But I think that would have,
because they had a lot of goodwill. They had so much goodwill built up. If they would have done something like what Mark was saying, they had enough goodwill built up to where even the people that would be upset, it would have been minor in comparison, and they would have been in a much better position. What people would have
said is, this is why we love CD Projekt Red, because they're open and honest with us. That's what people would have said about a move like that.
Yeah.
And I honestly think most of the pushback would just be from people who saw it on the PlayStation Store and just did not read the early access part of it. They would not have read the not even fine print, because usually early access games are very clearly stated as early access. And I think that most of the pushback they get would be from people who are like, oh, this game's not even finished. Or even if it was just Act 1, if once, I guess minor spoilers for Cyberpunk, once Johnny Silverhand shows up, that's where the game ends for now. And they'll be like, the rest of it's coming later once we fixed all the issues. I think most people would have been pretty fine with that, especially knowing that if you bought into it, you still get the rest of the game when it's done. It's just you get to play the first 5 hours of the game now. I think that would have worked out really well.
Glinzer,
and he was.
What was that? Did you guys hear something? Sorry, I thought I heard.
I think that was the video he's editing.
Yeah, I think that for some reason we picked up.
It was Ripa. I thought Ripa said something. It was like the video.
Yeah, it was.
I noticed the lips weren't moving.
My USB's coming in as a mic. Okay, I'm gonna mute that.
Yeah, no, we thought you were talking. Though I was like, wait, is he freezing up?
Why would it do that? Oh, because I got it on multi-stereo. That's why. My bad.
No problem. It's all good. It's funny. It was so confusing because it was your voice. But we were like,
yeah, my bad.
He's trying to make a point.
Mugsy cans for Canadian $5. I still can't get a refund of my Cyberpunk from the GOG store. I'm not the only one. Maybe they ran out of their pockets and they're reaching into yours to get your refund, Muggsykins.
I'm sure that they've got. I'm sure there's dealing with a lot of traffic.
That is like knowing that you can get a refund on games you buy on GOG that are not CD Projekt like first party games. I can't imagine a scenario in which you won't get your refund if you submitted the request. They're probably just dealing with a lot of them right now.
Yeah, I would think that's what it is.
Glinzer for $2 says, I think maybe Tom Cruise bought Cyberpunk. That's why he was so mad. Maybe. We talked about it a little bit last night. I love what Tom Cruise said, honestly. I think the COVID restrictions are fucking retarded. I think they're stupid. I think it's garbage. However, to continue his fucking multi-million-dollar project that he has his own money tied into that is employing thousands of people, they're forced to follow these rules.
And good chance it might be the last big movie maybe ever.
Yeah, and it probably won't even, like, who knows if it's going to release in a theater,
it probably will, because I think it'll at least be a couple years before theaters are like gone. It's just I think you're going to see a lot of simultaneous streaming service and theater releases where it's playing in the like 2 theaters in every city that are still open.
6 years to slow the spread.
We'll probably see a lot of mom and pop theaters though. Those actually might end up increasing in value. More people might be going to see like there's a theater down the street from our house that was like playing Empire Strikes Back the other day. And it's like, oh yeah, let's just throw this on a big screen, let people buy some popcorn.
I went to see I went to see that in Orlando back when I was down there visiting Drunk 3PO and the Park Hopping crew, who are live, by the way. I might jump over there and join them when we're done here. So you guys make sure you give some love to the Park Hopping crew.
I almost wanted to go to just be like, are they showing the special edition, or did they actually like find it like 35 millimeter prints?
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'd be like, if you didn't advertise that, I want my money back. Because I actually would pay to see like the original cuts of the Star Wars movie in theaters, but like special edition, it's like, no, I'll just watch them at home.
Yeah.
Mr. J for $10 doesn't say anything, but thank you for the support, Mr. J. Redox Georgi for HUF 400. I don't know what it is. Hungarian, I think. Free 3 DLC is coming. Can complete improved game. They were supposed to announce the DLC along with the launch of the game. That got pushed back, and when that happened, again, I made a video saying, listen, this game is not ready. There's something severely fucked up because, again, all these things that they told us they were going to give us, they couldn't because the game wasn't ready. I'm sure they have a lot of big plans for DLC. They need to get the game right first.
I was about to say, I think the last thing they should do right now is promise DLC. Like even the free DLC, or if they put out a roadmap talking about the paid expansions that they'll be doing, which, I mean, if Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine are any indication, CD Projekt does really good expansions that they don't overcharge for, or at least they have in the past. So I think if I were them, I would work really, really hard on those, make them incredible, and then kind of re-release the game as like a Game of the Year edition or something with those included, or a complete edition with all the bugs fixed. And I think that will be the moment that they actually kind of get their reputation back.
There you go. Sam Spade for $5. Jeremy has a man crush on Tom Brady. Changed my mind. I don't think even he's going to change it. He agrees.
Yeah. Dude, come on. If you're going to troll, you got to do better than that.
Yeah, it's self-admitted.
Yeah, come on, man.
Like saying Jeremy likes Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Ew.
Stargate 404 for $2. The most annoying glitch I got was the audio skip. I have a lot of random audio stuff, whether it's people talking over each other or like random voices coming out of nowhere. I do have a lot of that in the game, I guess.
That happened to me once where I got a phone call in the middle of like a story cinematic, and then it started playing the phone call and the story cinematic at the same time.
Did you answer the phone?
No, you don't have a choice though. It just automatically picks up. I don't like that either.
Geeky Pixie, $2. I love playing Cold War with the G&G teams. Thank you, Geeky Pixie. We appreciate that
too. She's good.
Yeah. Muggsykins for a follow-up, $10. I did a pre-order with my credit card. Their refund policy says I'm entitled to a refund on my credit card. They won't even give me that option. They only want to add it to my store wallet. So they only want to give you store credit at GOG, evidently.
Yeah.
That's paying for it out of their own pocket, is by telling you to buy something else. So
yeah, well, I mean, then like I guess lodge a complaint to them.
Yeah, I'll look more into that because that sounds like a good video idea.
Yeah.
I can see the thumbnail now. But we are all caught up with super chats, guys. Ripple, what do you got going on lately? You got any plans? Just continuing to crush through Cyberpunk review?
Yeah, that's the first and foremost thing that I'm trying to power through. So I can. That's why I'll be playing most of the day. I already got my video out for the day. So what I'll be doing is working on that, and then maybe do a show tomorrow. But we'll power through that, and then we'll move on to because I got a lot of stuff in the year that I need to get done. I got this tape I got to get out, and all kinds of things because next year I got a couple of more projects. The main one I know a lot of people have been anticipating was me writing my own comic. So that's on the horizon. I just got a lot of stuff that I gotta get rocked out. But yep, right now it's really it's strictly Cyberpunk for the most part. I did not actually think it was going to control my content like it did, but yeah, I guess between all the controversy and the game being as thorough as it is, like because there's a lot of content on it, you can get out of it. Yeah, it's going to take me a bit.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
Lady Ripper going to be joining us Sunday.
Yeah, she'll be there. She's having a blast, man. She's having a blast. I may hop on for like a game or two.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
are you gonna let us know, or are you just gonna pretend?
Nah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. That way, once I get last, it's not her. It's actually
yeah.
We can
shoot you a StreamYard link if you want. If you wanted to hop on and be on.
Oh, we're down. Absolutely, we're down,
yeah, man. Yeah, they've been going well. They Chris had the idea for us to put our hats on, and then it turned into just a comedy, and people loved it. It was good stuff.
Y'all are killing it with that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right. Well, make sure you guys check out Young Ripper. I'm sure basically all of you are already, but if you're not, go and check out his channel. Thanks for hopping on, man. It's awesome.
Of course.
Yeah, man. We always love having you on. So.
Mark, what do you got going on coming up, and what have you been playing?
Well, obviously, I've put a fair amount of time into Cyberpunk 2077. In the times that I've needed to take a break, I've just been plugging away at Yakuza Like a Dragon. Phenomenal game. I'm at the end of Chapter 4, but I hit a weird wall where they say that I can't enter this like Yakuza headquarters until I have an item equipped in every slot on my character. But I've been buying armor for all of the characters, so I have to I have to get like an accessory for Ichiban to keep going with it. But I think for the next couple days, I'm pretty much just going to be working on editing the Cyberpunk review. Like I said, it's the closest I've come to a long man video. It's over half an hour, and most of my videos are under 20 minutes, so it's going to take a while to edit because I generally have like 3 cuts every 10 seconds. So
good stuff.
I'm like a transporter movie fight scene.
Mark makes the best content for Geeks and Gamers. There's no doubt about that.
He does. He does make the best videos. So no doubt.
Jeremy can just put one of his dumb fucking praying fucking things in the thumbnail with Baby Yoda, get 150,000 views. Fucking
Jeremy and I had a conference call the other day asking if there was a way I could work Brie Larson into my thumbnails, and we couldn't come to an agreement.
Lethal, since Cyberpunk's not playable for you, what have you been playing, and what are you up to?
It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm going to bed when we're done here, man. What I've been playing, Avengers. Ripper, let's play Avengers sometime.
All right, I'm down. I'm down. Let's do it.
Make it happen. Avengers and Call of Duty and Ghost of Tsushima. That's all I've been playing this week.
There you go. Yeah, I need to fucking figure out my Ghost of Tsushima. When I transfer over to my PS5, all my shit's gone. I need to figure out how to get my Legends character back, because that's fucking bullshit if I can't get it back.
Confirmed I got mine. So I think you might just have to upload your Did you still have your PS4?
Yeah, I still have
Just upload your save file to the PlayStation Cloud and then download it on your PS5.
That's what I do.
There we go. Jeremy.
When you said that, I got scared too. I was like, oh no, did I lose my Legends character?
No. Jeremy, what do you got?
Cold War, Tidefall 2, the norm. No Nintendo. I haven't really, except for Mario Kart when we play it on Sundays, but I don't have to practice Mario Kart. And did play some Broforce. It's fun. It's a fun game. It's so fun. Have you played Broforce, Ripa? It's this 2D side scroller based on 80s action stars, and it's become a meme because we have this one person that we've had to ban from the channel because they just spam all day for me to play Broforce, and so I actively avoided playing it because this person made such a big deal of it. But it's on Switch, it's on Steam. Mark actually was familiar with it, and it's actually pretty fun. It's just a it's got blades in it. It's got Stallone, Chuck Norris.
It's got characters and actors from like a bunch of 80s and 90s action movies, and all of them have bro sometimes very awkwardly shoved into the middle of the name. So like Blade is Braid, Rambo is Rambro, RoboCop is Brobocop, the Terminator is the Brominator.
It's got a lot of blood and guts. It's funny. It is funny. It's been ruined for so many people because of the meme at this point, but it's actually a fun game.
And the environments are destructible too. It's very like kind of simplistic looking, like 16-bit kind of side scroller shooter, but it's fun and it's really funny.
To be fair, I did purchase the game before Eric became a meme, based on Mark's recommendation. I just avoided playing it because it was until we finally had to ban him because he was just annoying every fucking body.
Well, and then we found out Jeremy was fine with him annoying everybody. Then everyone would just get fucking furious. And
then I found out
he's like, I'm 17. And Jeremy's like, oh shit. We just have everybody in the chat telling this person to go fuck themselves.
I couldn't in good conscience let this person stay here when I found out that. So
it's fucking bizarre. Like I can put up with you being a Filoni fan and a Ahsoka fan and all that other dumb shit, but you've touched Broforce, you're fucking tarnished forever, man.
You and me are done professionally.
Yeah. What the hell?
Wolfbane for $5. Ahsoka should have died during Order 66. Change my mind. There's a better change my mind troll. I like that.
I don't disagree with that. I would have been fine if she died during Order 66. I think that would have been good for the character and everything like that. But with that said, she's alive and I'm happy, and we'll see what happens. I am going to join our park hopping crew because they're talking about Super Nintendo World in the presentation.
Yep.
So if you guys want to hop over there, Ryan will drop a link in the chat. I'm going to go hop over there.
A couple more super chats and then we're out. So
so I'm gonna hop over there. But Ripa, thanks for joining us, man. Pleasure having you on as always, man.
Of course, man. Let me know whenever I'm down.
Okay.
Absolutely. Guy He 316 for £5. CDPR after seeing the backlash of Cyberpunk. A storm, damn it. Thank you, Guy He 316. Muggsykins for $5 I can send you the email GOG sent or GOG sent me. Just let me know where. I put my email in chat. So it's just rtkennel@gmail.com, or you can do ryan@geeksandgamers.com. And then 70s Rock Fan becomes a member. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we are out. I put the link to Park Hopping, guys. Why don't we end it the same way we started, with the bug-free, completely fixed and patched Cyberpunk 2077.
You're certified bug-free. Bug-free.
Shit, Victor, not bad. I don't know what to say.
Say you'll take this and remember the dosage. 2 whips now.